continue the arguments as if the arguments that they were pushing last night went really well. One person, I don't know who it is because I don't think their screen name matches, but they messaged me this morning. They sent me these updated FBI crime statistics from 2022, and they're like, this proves the FBI was lying, but it's the FBI that updated the crime statistics. So it was a weird argument. They're like, you can't trust the FBI, and then they're like, here's the FBI statistics proving that you can't trust the FBI. It's a really bizarre morning. I have a lot of clips to go over. What does Cam want this morning? No, Cam. You know the rules, Cam. You have to trick me if you want to get in here. All right, Jen, we got you. Yeah, Jen, Discord's up. Discord's working today. I had to adjust my VPN and choose a country that was, or a state inside of the United States. I was using a different country yesterday. That doesn't work. Hi, Courtney. I love you too. I want to show you something that I just thought was funny. This is this was from, I think it was, who was this from actually? I don't even know. I think it was Seth Abramson, but I'm not sure. Let's see. All right, I don't know. This is just some guy named Seth. This picture I saw right before we went live, titled "Crisis at the Border," and it made me laugh. So I just wanted to share this with you. This is crisis at the border here. The line between Trump's what is it? Is it bronzer? Is it spray tan? But like this lineup here is tough. Yeah, see, I thought you guys would enjoy that. I hope you enjoy that. That's the real crisis at the border. The border between hair and bronzer is tough. It's really, the ear is the ear is perfect. I mean, it's big. It's a little saggy. But yeah, that's the savior. That's the savior of MAGA. You're absolutely right. This is their guy. And it didn't get, like, things didn't go really well for Trump yesterday, despite what you might have seen on Fox News. Also wanted to show you this new Kamala ad dropped, which was, I thought, really powerful. I don't know if they got this idea from Corbin Allred or if he stole this idea, but this new ad from Kamala, I don't know if you guys have seen this, is incredible.
My daughter Amber made me so proud.
She was having complications.
And
tonight we are learning more about the death of Amber Thurman.
The death of Amber Thurman was likely
Sorry,
preventable
Corbin.
if she'd had access to abortion care in her home state of Georgia.
Sorry, I clicked the wrong button. Let me go back. I meant Corbin Allred. Sorry. I have a friend named Colin Allred, so I sometimes say Colin.
Complications.
Is it Corbin or Colin? Was I right? It is Colin? Now you got me all fucked up. It's Colin Allred. Yeah, it's Colin. Okay. So I have a friend named Colin also. Who's told me Corbin? All right, sorry, I'm starting the ad over. Guys, this is a serious ad. Stop picking on me. We got to watch this ad. Stop being bullies. I said Corbin? Oh, shit. Sorry, it's Colin.
Amber made me so proud.
She was having complications.
And
tonight we are learning more about the death of Amber Thurman.
The death of Amber Thurman was likely preventable if she'd had access to abortion care in her home state of Georgia.
What happened to her was preventable. My daughter is gone because of what Donald Trump did.
For 54 years, they were trying to get Roe v. Wade terminated, and I did it, and I'm proud to have done it.
It's nothing good enough to bring her back. Her life is over.
I've never been a political person, never. I'm voting for Kamala Harris because she showed me she really cared. I felt her sincerity, and I felt her strength.
We will speak her name, Amber Nicole Thurman.
I felt her compassion. We will never get Amber back, but we can make sure this never happens again.
I'm Kamala Harris, and I approve this message.
Whew. That was a good targeted ad. That's going to go to the right people. That's going to be really effective. That's just a good ad. And it's sad. What's sad is that, like, it's a real story. It's sad that is a political ad. And like Donald Trump later on in the show today, Donald Trump will be bragging about putting those type of laws in place, which is embarrassing. Republicans will pretend that this isn't happening, which is largely what they've done. I've never actually seen a Republican address this. I've seen people asked about it, and I see them dodge the question, and they'll all kind of say the same thing, like, this is a tragedy, I agree, but we're not going to do anything to fix it. We're just going to allow this shit to happen. They don't care. You know who else doesn't care? Sorry, the start of this is going to be a little random, but Russell Brand has the solution. I don't know if you knew this. Russell Brand, who, by the way, weirdest start to an ad. Where the fuck did he come from here? This is the start of a video. Just so I haven't played the video yet, but can somebody explain to me where he's coming from? He has a suitcase. He's up against a thicket. Where'd he come from? I don't. He's so weird. Here's what Russell Brand is doing now to fix America.
Hello, I'm just back from Narnia, where I had a holiday, Mr. Tumnus.
I got back from Narnia.
And as you know, airports are places full of Wi-Fi and all sorts of evil energies. Think of all the phones out there, all of the signals, corruptible and corrupting. Luckily, I wear this magical amulet from Tech that keeps me safe from all of the various signals out there. And also means, look at this, look how strong I am. I think this is making me more powerful, as a matter of fact. Look at that. This stuff is absolutely packed with Tech. I didn't even bring any socks or toothbrush or dog meat or anything like that. Just completely full of Tech. You should get one as well, particularly if you're planning to go to an airport anytime soon, because the bloody things are full of lethal signals.
I do want to point out, he said the airport's full of Wi-Fi, like everywhere is full of Wi-Fi. Spoiler alert. Everybody has evil Wi-Fi.
Tech, a glorious amulet to protect you from corrupting signals. Hello, I'm just...
All right. What do you think that thing cost? It's a necklace. It's a necklace with it's an amulet. I don't know what the fucking amulet is. Guess how much that costs, that necklace? That's right. Somebody's seen $240. It's a $240 necklace that will protect you from Wi-Fi. Right next, and you can keep it right next to, somebody said, isn't that idolatry? You can keep it right next to your crucifix. Shouldn't the crucifix be blocked? Why don't they make the crucifix out of amulet? That's the real question. Then you got double power. You have the power of the amulet, keeping the evil Wi-Fi away from you, and then you also have the power of Christ. That's double power. Why wouldn't you make the cross out of amulet? Is amulet a thing? What is amulet? Actually, let's look at it. What is amulet? I thought an amulet is an object, either natural or man-made, believed to be endowed with special... Okay, so it's made up. Great. I thought amulet might be the name of an actual thing. Nope, it's just made up. It's just a thing. It's like a rabbit. I guess a rabbit's foot could be an amulet. I thought he couldn't certainly just be talking about a made-up thing. This must be some sort of stone or mineral called amulet. Nope. It's just an object, either natural or man-made, believed to be endowed with special powers. I don't know what it's made of, but on his ad, it shows like he references the UFC. He's like, this was approved. I don't know if it's down in the chat here. Like, it's approved by the UFC for some reason. I don't know. This is what MAGA is now. Like the amount of grift on MAGA is just absolutely crazy. Shout out Russell Brand though for seeing an opportunity and just taking it. He's like, I'm gonna run with this. I've converted to MAGA. I've converted to Christianity, and now I'm gonna do what all good Christians do. I'm gonna grift the fuck out of it. I'm gonna try and make as much money as I possibly can off of this. All right. Look, if you're a Republican and you're here, it's not going to be a good day for you. It's never a good day for you, but today specifically isn't going to be a good day for you. However, I do have one question that a Republican at any time is welcome to come up here and explain to me. I'm going to play a bunch of clips of Donald Trump, and one question that is going to apply to every clip is, what the fuck is he talking about? And if you're a Republican and you can explain what the fuck Trump is talking about in any of these clips, I welcome you to please, for the love of God, come up and tell us what the fuck Donald Trump is talking about. A lot of tariff talk. That's correct. So much tariff talk. And I've got some Kamala clips to like splice in. So I'll if people are getting too sick, I'll try and add some clips. I also don't know if we have 3.5 hours worth of clips. Going from Tuesday night to Wednesday, it's always difficult to know if I've got 3.5 hours worth of material. So we may not have 3.5 hours worth of material today. We'll find out. Can I play Ave Maria? Yeah, if you want. If we run out of time, I could just play you guys my playlist. What do you think? If you had to guess, what do you think would be on my playlist? Like if we went to Spotify, if I went to Spotify, does Spotify still do that thing where they tell you like what's your top songs? I don't know. Wait, Kansas? Fall Out Boy, Oasis. All right, fuck all of you. Sublime. A lot of Taylor Swift. Honestly, a lot of Taylor Swift, but that's from my daughter. And now I do like Taylor Swift, but Taylor Swift's new. A lot of Hanson. Chili Peppers, Petey Pablo, Hollaback Girl. Dixon Dallas. I don't even know who Dixon Dallas is. My Milkshake, Dave Matthews. That's rude. I feel like Dave Matthews is rude. Nickelback. There's no Nickelback. There's no Nickelback. All right. Tom Petty. There's might be a little Tom Petty. That might not a lot of Blink-182. All right. This is now I feel bad. Now you guys have hurt my feelings. I'm number one on my playlist is Jay-Z. So take that. I just looked. My number one played song is Empire State of Mind. So take that. Little Alicia Keys and Jay-Z. Michael Jackson, Rainbow Kitty, Surprise, 3 Days Grace. Come on. Probably some Jonas Brothers in there. Yeah, it's probably in there. All right, I shouldn't have asked that question. Now I don't feel good about myself. In order to make myself feel a little bit better, I'm going to jump right into this. This is Trump's town hall with Bloomberg. Now, this is a... Shit, why didn't that work? This is a weird town hall here. I'm guessing that like Trump could invite people because there was a lot of cheering at bizarre moments, stuff that like the general public wouldn't cheer at. So I'm assuming they loaded this with Trump people. So when you hear cheering and you're like, wait, why are they cheering for that? Just remember that this is MAGA. But he went to a Bloomberg town hall, Economic Club of Chicago, and he was asked a lot of questions, and he gave answers to a lot of questions, but rarely did the question that he was asked and the answer that he gave related. It was tricky. Sometimes I'm like, wait a minute, I had to go back and be like, is this the right clip? Is this the same? Like, did somebody splice this and put in a different answer? We'll find out. But here's the opening question. And again, this is supposed to be about economics, which Donald Trump doesn't understand, despite what our Harvard graduate friends say. He's asked about his tariff proposals, which is smart first question, important to know. I saw a troubling poll this morning. I saw a poll this morning that said something like just under 60% of Americans believe that we should, in order to build our economy, we should put tariffs, like across the board tariffs, 10% at a minimum, up to 20%. I don't know where they polled that. I don't know who was polled, but that's alarming. That made me a little bit nervous about the election. That's an alarming number of people who don't understand what tariffs are. All right, so here's Trump explaining.
You heard the reception there. The business people of Chicago, like everywhere else, they like a lot of the things you want to do in terms of tax cuts and some of the spending proposals. But like many business people, what they're often worried about is the cost. And the Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget, which is a bipartisan outfit, put out some predictions the other day. If you add up all the promises you've made, and your plans would add $7.5 trillion to the debt. That's more than twice the total for Vice President Harris. You're on course to push up debt up to 150% of GDP. You know, this is a very business-like audience. Why should they trust you with that?
Because we're about growth. She's got no growth whatsoever. And we're all about...
Sorry, his mic cuts out a bunch. I don't know. So I don't know why.
Companies back to our country. We look at, even today, as I was driving over, I see these empty, old, beautiful, like steel mills and factories that are empty and falling down. Some have been converted to senior citizens' homes, but that's not going to do the trick. And we're going to bring the companies back. We're going to lower taxes still further for companies that are going to make their product in the USA. We're going to protect those companies with strong tariffs because I'm a believer in tariffs. I'm not sure that you are. I don't think you are, but I congratulate you on your career.
I don't think you are, but I congratulate you on your career. So he said, like, your tariffs are going to increase the debt. We're going to approach 150% of GDP. What do you say? And he's like, well, I saw some empty buildings, and some of those empty buildings are now being used for senior care. And we're going to bring manufacturing back, and we're going to protect those manufacturing jobs with strong tariffs. Not an answer so far. Still not an answer to the actual data that was presented.
But to me, the most beautiful word in the dictionary is tariff.
Yeah.
And it's my favorite word. It needs a public relations.
He's never looked that word up. If he knew that what tariff said in the dictionary, he'd stop being wrong about what tariffs are. If maybe he just saw the word tariff, he's like, that's beautiful. I'm going to start using that. I love the flow of the lettering there.
Firm.
They clapped at that, by the way.
It's the most beautiful word in the dictionary.
Tariffs, do you think that will bring in the revenues? To use another bipartisan group, Pearson Institute, they say they only bring in $200 billion. That's barely the cost of 2 of your promises.
Yeah, but that's like, for what company are you talking about, okay? Look, I've brought in with...
What? He doesn't understand this question. I'm certain of it. You help me out here.
They only bring in $200 billion. That's barely the cost of 2 of your promises.
Yeah, but that's like, for what company are you talking about, okay?
He's not talking about it. He's talking about the total amount. That's all the companies. He's not saying that one company will bring in $200 billion in tariffs. He doesn't understand any of this. I wish whoever that guest was last night who said Trump definitely understands tariffs. Like, he doesn't understand any of this stuff. It's wild. And Fox News and Republicans spent last night being incredible. Kamala could never do this. Yeah, like, honest to God, Trump does something that I don't think any of us could do. Sit on stage and confidently be wrong 90% of the time. And even when corrected, just like, nope, I can't be corrected.
Look, I've brought in with tariffs, and I was just getting started. Then COVID came, and we had because I tell you what, I did a very good job in COVID. Nobody knew what the hell it was. I call it the China virus because I like.
Yeah, nobody knew what it was. That's true. We didn't know what it was, which is why when you started lying about it, we've got an issue with that. This is second point. The moderator then just asked Trump, like, tariffs have another side. You could be plunging America into a trade war. What do you have to say about that? Let's see what Trump has to say about the trade war.
Tariffs. You look at the American economy, 40 million jobs rely on trade. It counts for 27% of GDP.
Okay.
If you cut that off, that's also going to have an effect on many, many business people here. Yeah. Tariffs also have another side. Isn't that something that you have to acknowledge? No. You could be plunging America into the biggest trade war since Smoot-Hawley.
But there are no tariffs.
You're going to stop. There are tariffs already at the moment.
There are no tariffs. All you have to do is build your plant in the United States, and you don't have any tariffs.
But people, a lot of places like this, there are a lot of jobs that rely on foreigners coming here. You're going to basically stop trade with China. You're talking about 60% on that, 60% tariffs on that. You're talking, as you said, 100, 200% on things.
How long do you think it would, like, when he says there's no tariffs, best case scenario for Trump is he gets to be president, and best case scenario is he gets to be president for 4 years. So he's going to put tariffs on, and those factories are going to be built overnight. Of course, like, even if Trump's idea that tariffs would bring manufacturing jobs back to America, it's the problem that we have in America is not that there aren't available jobs, that there's not good paying jobs. Some of these tariffs that he's talking about putting on wouldn't necessarily create good paying jobs. And if you do pay the people well, that will increase the cost of goods. And a lot of these things that we import, the reason we import them is because we can't make them here, right? We can't affordably make them here because we have to pay people more. This is what I'm most nervous about for Republicans. Let's say they win. Let's say they start this trade war, and let's say they basically put all these tariffs on foreign countries, and let's say that these manufacturing jobs come back. What the net result is, either cost of goods are going to go up, or then the Republicans are going to be like, hey, minimum wage. We're just going to pay minimum wage on these jobs because we got to protect the 1%. His plan doesn't make any sense. It like just putting it in place. How? And people ask him over and over, how are you going to do this? Well, it's just going to be beautiful. Tariff's a beautiful word. I did tariffs. I know tariffs. Tariffs are great. Nobody knows about tariffs. Nobody talks about tariffs, but I know tariffs.
You don't really like. You're also talking about 10, 20% tariffs on the rest of the world. That is going to have a serious effect on the overall economy. And yes, you're going to find some people who will gain from individual tariffs. The overall effect could be massive in terms of the economy.
I agree it's going to have a massive effect, positive effect. It's going to be a positive, not a negative.
Well,
let me just.
So again, like all you got to do, you just got to build the plants here in America. There will be no tariffs. And plants, they're very quick. Companies sprout up, build a plant, get funding, and then they just exist. That's what happens. By the way, what are you going to expedite these foreign companies? Let's say you've got a company that's manufacturing goods out of China, and you want them to manufacture their goods here. What's the process there? How long does the process take for them to now reestablish a business in the United States, get the licensing, go out, hire, build infrastructure, build a plant, acquire the goods that they need in order to manufacture whatever they're manufacturing? Like none of this stuff makes sense for a president who's going to be in office for 4 years. Like this would be a real long-term solution, and it would require the government to bail out a lot of people along the way. The investment would be more than just the tariffs, because again, if you put tariffs on these companies and that forces them to move manufacturing here, you're not collecting on tariffs. So it's not like the government is bringing in money because you're not collecting on tariffs. There's not tariffs that are coming in. Right, so there's no offset here. And they ask him multiple times here, what's your offset going to be? He has no idea. There's no proposal from Donald Trump on how to offset these tariffs.
The world. That is going to have a serious effect on the overall economy. And yes, you're going to find some people who will gain from individual tariffs. The overall effect.
That's the one I just played.
Massive.
Oh, that's just the end of it. Never mind.
It's going to have a massive effect, positive effect. It's going to be a positive, not a negative.
Well,
let me just tell you. I know how committed you are to this, and it must be hard for you to spend 25 years talking about tariffs as being negative, and then have somebody explain to you that you're totally wrong.
Nobody is saying tariffs are negative. Nobody is saying that now. Nobody has said that in the past. This idea, Trump now reframes it as tariffs are good. You're all saying it's bad. So then, and this is how MAGA debates. Like they create a position that doesn't exist, right? Tariffs can work. Tariffs have worked. In fact, historically, tariffs have been much higher than they are now. Historically, tariffs have been much higher than they were under the Trump administration. Tariffs can work. Nobody is saying tariffs bad. Nobody's saying that. But in order for Trump to make sense, he has to reframe and create a new argument where he's saying tariffs are good, the left is saying tariffs are bad, and this guy staked his entire career on this idea that tariffs are bad. Nobody has ever said that. This is a fake argument. And it's a fake argument because Donald Trump can't answer the question. The question is like, how will this be positive? Remember, that's what he's at. He's supposed to be explaining how this will be a positive impact. That's his claim. Now, let's see if he explains how this will be a positive impact.
It must be hard for you to spend 25 years talking about tariffs as being negative and then have somebody explain to you that you're totally wrong. It'll have a negative. It will have. I'll go a step further. If you don't do this, this country has no chance.
40 million jobs is a lot of jobs to rely on.
They're all coming back.
Those are 40 million jobs. Those are 40 million jobs in America that rely on trade.
Are you ready? John Deere, great company. They announced.
Whoops, sorry.
John Deere, great company.
I like how he says it. Are you ready? Again, avoids the question. Donald Trump ran on 2016 on the same fucking policy. I'm bringing manufacturing jobs back. I'm gonna use tariffs to bring manufacturing jobs back, and it didn't happen. Why would his exact plan work now, but it didn't work then? That's my question to Republicans. Why do you believe this? We've already seen this. Is this it? Remember that story Trump loves to tell that he fucks up every time about like picking up a snake from the water, then taking the snake across the water, and then it bites him. It's like, why'd you bite me? It's like, I was a snake. It's the same thing. We've already seen this game. He's not smart enough to even invent like a new game here. He's just going to go with the same thing. Yeah, Jen, invite chirpers. Let me read a couple comments here. Actually, I'll finish the clip, then I'll do comments. Sorry.
John Deere, great company.
Great
They
company.
announced about a year ago they're going to build big plants outside of the United States, right? They're going to build them in Mexico.
And you threatened
They're
them with
also going to
tariffs
build.
and they stopped.
That's right. I said, if John Deere builds those plants and not selling anything into the United States, they just announced yesterday they're probably not going to build the plants, okay? I kept
the world.
John Deere never announced that they were going to Mexico. They said that they were considering it. And now Donald Trump's taking credit for this as if like John Deere decided not to do it because Donald Trump threatened them with tariffs that was against his trade plan. Like he literally can't put tariffs on them. He has a trade policy with Mexico and Canada that says he can't put those tariffs on them. So I don't either. If Mexico did buy into that, then I guess they're saying like, yeah, we understand that Trump doesn't give a shit about our trade agreements. And what does that say to our to the people we do trade with? That Donald Trump will put in a trade agreement and then he'll just abandon it. I guess he did it. He did it with the TPP as well. Great. Sal says, I've got an opening for you. Thank you, Sal. I assume that meant at your hair salon or something. Tracy said, oops, I did it again. That is not on my playlist. Devin or Devon said, I was at the Kamala rally on Monday and would love to share some pics and videos if there's time. Maybe. I don't know if we're going to have time for that or not. Jumar says, major... Oh, that was it. Yeah, this was from last night. Major poli-sci, minor poli-sci, elective poli-sci. Jessica says, for Trump's shoes, watch, and Wi-Fi protector, the new fit. Ooh, yeah, we got to get the, what's it called, an amulet? Jumar said, number one song on your list is Unmute Me by Michelangelo. I don't know who that is, but if that's a real song, that's amazing. I should probably learn that song. All right. Moving on. Yeah, you can invite Kenneth. Kenneth, come on up. Where are you, Kenneth? Kenneth, Jen has invited you. I'm not sure what you said. Let's see. What did you say in the comments? Kenneth said Trump 2024. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty normal. My guess is Kenneth would just come up here and ramble some stuff and then get mad and rage quit. All right. So now here's Trump defending his plan of 10% tariffs across the board.
States and build a factory in the United States so it doesn't have to pay the tariff.
That will take many years.
In fact, I'll tell you, there's another theory is that the tariff, you make it so high, so horrible, so obnoxious that they'll come right away. When I do the 10%, 10% is really, first of all, 10% when you collect it is hundreds of billions of dollars. The numbers that you're talking about, all reducing our deficit. But really,
how does that reduce our deficit? Is he using that to pay off the deficit? Because it doesn't offset his tax cuts. It doesn't reduce the deficit.
So there's two ways of looking at a tariff. You can do it as a money-making instrument, or you can do it as something to get the companies. Now, if you want the companies to come in, the tariff has to be a lot higher than 10% because 10% is not enough. Guys, they're not going to do it for 10. But you may.
What if the companies say, mm-mm? What if they say, no, we're not importing anymore then? Because there's some products they don't necessarily have to import. We've seen this before. Like there are certain products where they can import and export from other countries. We saw this when it came to agriculture, when China slapped retaliatory tariffs on us, and suddenly all our farmers lost their jobs. What do you think will happen? Let's say Trump puts a 40% tariff on, let's just say, Chinese automobiles. Or microchips. That's probably a better one. What if they slap retaliatory tariffs on our farmers? Then Trump's going to have to bail them back out again, right? The problem with Trump's plan here, and one, I don't get it. I don't get why we need all the companies to be in America. Well, I don't understand why that's important. If we took all the manufacturing companies and moved them to America, we wouldn't have enough people to work at those companies. We don't have the labor force for it. Then we're going to run into another crisis. We're going to be like, oh shit, we need a labor force, but Trump wants to deport all the people here that are willing to work. The labor force here begging for good jobs. Trump wants to deport them. So you want to bring in all these companies with a labor force that is decreasing, with the boomer generation dying out. People aren't having kids. It's not going to be replaced. And then you want to also get rid of immigrants. I don't know how any of this stuff works under Trump's plan, and he can't outline any of it. And frankly, Republicans can't outline any of it. You guys don't know either. You're just like, I'm all in on Trump at this point. We're going for it. Now, listen to this applause line. This will tell you everything you need to know about the Trump folks. Is they don't understand any of this. And that's how I know that these people at an economic forum don't understand economics. Because listen to what they applaud for here.
You've gone off about that. Seeing you brought up tariffs and foreign policy, many people would say the biggest problem with your tariffs is actually geopolitics. You, in your first term, you got some credit for effectively saying that there was a Cold War against China. That's what America was in. If you look at the last Cold War against the Soviet Union, America won it in part because it rallied allies to it. You're talking about slamming allies with 30%, 20% tariffs. Isn't this time you're going to end up trying to rally the West and you're dividing it instead? Isn't that the real problem with tariffs? Even beyond all the problems due to the economy, where you keep on bringing up these individual examples, but the overall effect is going to be dramatic.
No, the overall effect will
answer first about foreign policy.
Yeah, I'll do that.
How does it help you take on China, turning all your allies against you?
Tremendously.
Okay, so kind of a complicated question there, but yeah, he did maybe lose track of the question there. What do you think his answer is going to be here? Any guesses? Great question. Yeah, agreed. Great question. He doesn't understand the question, which is why he gives this answer.
Because China thinks we're a stupid country.
Let me go back.
Because China thinks we're a stupid country. A very stupid country. They can't believe that somebody finally got wise to them. Not one president, Bush, Obama, Barack Hussein Obama, have you heard of him? Not one president, think of it, not one.
There's the clap line. He just says Barack Hussein Obama, and conservatives are like, I know that one. I got that one. His answer is China thinks we're stupid. I'm the only smart one ever.
President charged China anything. They said, oh, they are a third world nation. They're developing. Well, we're a developing nation, too. Take a look at Detroit. Take a look at our cities. We're a developing nation. We have to develop more than they do.
This is a lie. This is a lie that we have not ever put tariffs on China. And let me show you what I mean. This is from Macro Trends. Pulled this up this morning. And it's specifically Obama. Come on, load. Come on. Tell me this isn't going to load. There's supposed to be a graph right here. Come on. Come on, internet. This is going to suck really bad if this graph never pulls up. Come on. No. This white spot is a graph, and I swear to God, you can see that this thing is it's spinning. There we go. These are our tariffs on China. In 92, we were at 32%. That's the applied weight weighted mean of all products, 32%. You can even see here if we go down to when Trump took office in 2017, those numbers dropped. 3.83, 3.39, 2.53, 2.47, 2.3. We were at historic lows under the Trump administration. So when he says that nobody else did this and China thought those are stupid people, well, it looks like China got their best deal under Trump, which is why most people agree that China won that trade war with Trump. By the way, this is the annual change. These are the Obama years. At least we had some years of change there. 0.7, 1.3, down. First year of Trump we're up, but those are Obama policies, and then we're just down every year. So this thing that he just said, this thing that China has been dealing with stupid people all along, but now I'm here and I'm the one that really gave it to China. It's not true. It's absolutely untrue. That is a flat out lie that he is telling people. Now he's going to tell a story about Shinzo Abe, who was the prime minister of Japan. He's going to tell another lie. Now, again, whenever Trump tells a story about somebody else, if he says "sir" or if he always makes the other person in the argument so submissive for no reason. Like, there's no reason for Shinzo Abe to be this submissive, but Trump is going to turn Shinzo Abe into just like this sniveling coward for this story.
Union. We have a trade deficit of $300 billion with the European Union. Our allies are Japan. You know, Abe was a very good friend of mine. He was a great guy, great. And I said to him in Japan, he was assassinated. And he was a great man. He really was. I didn't see too many like him. And he got very sick and he had to take off. And then he was actually making a comeback. He was going to make a comeback and he would have won easily. But he was a great gentleman, handsome, wonderful man, respected by everybody. And
one of the things that has happened with Trump, like moving into these late stages of whatever it is, dementia, old age, maybe the orange coloring has gotten into his skin. One thing he does now is he can't compliment anybody without talking about how good looking they are. You'll see this highlighted over a bunch of clips today, but every time he talks about somebody that he likes, he brings up that they're good looking, which is a very strange thing.
By everybody. And I went to him and I said, Shinzo, we have to talk. What? Trade. And he goes, I'll never forget it. I know. I said, what do you know? I knew you'd come to me. Why do you say that? Because I can't believe, I wouldn't tell this story if he was alive, actually.
I wonder why you wouldn't tell this story if he was alive. I wonder why you wouldn't tell this story if he was alive. Because maybe the person who's no longer with us would be like, yeah, this didn't fucking happen. And I'm going to show you at the end of this, statistically, this is also 100% a lie.
Because I can't believe, I wouldn't tell this story if he was alive, actually. I can't believe how many years it's been that nobody even negotiated with us in America. I said, Shinzo, you have to pay for your cars. You're sending millions of cars. You don't accept a car from us. You don't have one car that you accept. And yet,
I want to point out, he said, you have to pay for your cars. Again, to whoever that idiot was all the idiots last night, Donald Trump doesn't know what tariffs are. He doesn't know what they do. He doesn't know how they function. He's clearly saying that Japan has to pay. Clearly saying that.
Yet we're selling 3 million, 4 million of your cars. I said, Shinzo, on agriculture, you won't even accept our agriculture. And I renegotiated the whole trade deal from a little disadvantage.
All right, let's talk about this trade deal with Shinzo Abe. Here are the tariffs with Japan. First of all, we'll go back to macro trends and let's see if it takes an hour for that chart to load again. At least you can see the ads while we're doing it. I don't know if my internet's just moving slow or what's going on. These charts loaded just fine earlier. It's never one number. 3 million has to be 4. Yeah, exactly. All right. Here are the tariffs applied to Japan. Here is where at the very end is where Trump came in. Now there was an increase in 2019, then we drop back down, but historic lows. So this is also a lie. It's also a lie that nobody's ever put tariffs on Japan. It's just a flat out lie. And so it's weird that he would make up this story about Shinzo being like, fuck, you finally caught us. God damn it. I knew you were so brilliant that you were going to come to me. The reason Trump thinks that is because Trump doesn't know anything about historically whether or not we put tariffs on Japan. And these folks, they can, like, if they tell him that he's smart, if they just are like, you're so smart, then they can get the best of him. And that's what they do historically. So China did. China's like, oh, he's such a tough negotiator. And then he's like, look, everybody, they said I'm a tough negotiator. And then we get the deal, and it turns out it was a shitty deal, which is exactly what happened in Japan here. This is the Center for Strategic International Studies scoring the Trump-Abe trade deal. The core deal involves greater market access in Japan for U.S. beef, pork, and wheat exporters in exchange for U.S. tariff reductions on a range of industrial products of interest to Japan. Oh, he reduced the tariffs? Didn't he just say that he put the tariffs on them? Isn't that what he said? You got to start paying. Does he not know what was in his deal? Because he reduced the tariffs. The core deal involves greater market access in Japan for U.S. beef, pork, and wheat exports in exchange for U.S. tariff reductions on a range of industrial products. Well, if there were no tariffs there, former President Trump, how did you reduce them? Are you just you reduced them from zero? Is that what happened there? The two leaders also signed an executive agreement on digital commerce that revived a set of liberal rules that they had already essentially agreed on before Trump walked away from the TPP on his third day in office. Once again, President Trump has settled for a minimalist deal. On agriculture, the agreement is TPP minus, since Tokyo withheld its earlier commitment to expand rice quotas for U.S. exporters. Offered a smaller wheat quota, and apparently gave no new market access for soybeans. Meanwhile, other U.S. sectors, such as pharmaceuticals and financial services, got little or nothing from the deal. Second, by moving contentious trade issues onto the back burner, the prime minister hoped to shift Trump's attention towards more critical issues facing the U.S.-Japan alliance, notably curbing North Korea's missile program and managing an increasingly assertive China. So then Abe, who, remember, he's so meek. You caught us, Donald Trump. You caught us. We'll do whatever you say. No, he negotiated a really good trade deal, and then also got Trump to work with them on curbing North Korea's missile program and being a little more assertive with China. With this was interesting. This was just how they closed. With the baseball playoffs getting underway in both countries, it seems apt to score the Trump-Abe deal using a metaphor from the game that has linked the United States and Japan for nearly 150 years. Having achieved his strategic objectives in the negotiations, Prime Minister Abe can be fairly credited with a single and a run batted in. Trump got on base too, but hit by pitch is arguably the appropriate entry in the scorecard. Just like by default got on base. And then probably claimed it was unfair. The problem with Donald Trump and the problem with his followers is none of them will follow up on any of this stuff. Everything this guy says is an absolute lie. And he does it to show like how strong and how great he is at negotiating deals. And every time we look into these deals that he negotiates, he gets wrecked. Like this, he's one of the worst negotiators we've ever had as president, and yet he consistently talks about what a great negotiator he is. And then you have all his followers like, I like him because he's a businessman. He understands business. No, he doesn't. And to quote Mitt Romney, a business genius, he is not.
You just mentioned Putin, though, and there's been this controversy of the past week. Can you say yes or no whether you have talked to Vladimir Putin since you stopped being president?
Remember, the argument against Kamala Harris is she can't give a straight answer.
Well, I don't comment on that, but I will tell you that if I did, it's a smart thing. If I'm friendly with people, if I have a relationship with people.
What do you mean you don't comment on that? Why are Trump supporters, why are you okay with this? Do you talk to Putin? I don't talk about that. Excuse me? You work for us. You're asking to work for us. You're like, I'm applying for this job to work for you. Do you talk to Putin? Not telling any of you guys. I don't talk about that. And Trump people are just like, they're so cool with it. That's why conservatives went along with the Patriot Act. That's why whenever the government overreaches, conservatives go along with it. They just like big daddy government. And this whole like, we're for small government and less government interference. No, you're not. That's just what you tell yourselves so that you don't have to admit that you're all cucks. It's just a lie that you all tell yourselves. Maybe you believe it, but in practice you don't, because you keep putting up people like this who will just lie right to your face and be like, you don't need to know that. I'll tell you what you need to know. Just pay attention, and when I tell you need to know something, you need to know. But don't ask me questions I don't want to answer. Oh, and by the way, if I do talk to Putin, it's because I'm really smart. Oh, well, we don't care if he talks to Putin because he told us that if he does talk to Putin, it's because he's smart. By the way, violation of the Logan Act for sure. And Donald Trump has his own history with Russia. Of course, he talks to Putin, maybe through back channels, maybe directly. Who knows?
Well, that's a good thing, not a bad thing in terms of a country. He's got 2,000 nuclear weapons, and so do we. China has a lot less, but they'll catch us within 5 years.
That sounds very
if I
much
have a
like,
relationship,
that sounds very much like
I don't talk about.
you did talk
I
to
don't
him.
talk about. No, I don't talk about that.
You
I don't-
talk
I
about
don't
talking
ever
to
say it.
Netanyahu. You talk
But
about
I can tell
talking
you
to
what,
these people.
Russia has never had.
Yeah, I don't talk about that. You know why? Because he knows it's a violation of the Logan Act. Somebody said that's his seventh, or Logan Act or Hatch Act too. Yeah, seventh violation there. Is that it? Is it only 7 at this point? It's got to be more than 7. So there's Trump giving a great non-answer as always, and his folks don't care. Fox News, if you watch the recap of this, they're like, this was incredible. I'll play some clips from Eric Trump, and I'm trying to remember the other person I had on, somebody else on Fox News, just praising here. Here's Trump saying that people are betting that your policies are going to drive up the debt and inflation. When he says that, he means like the way that the markets react. People think that he's going to drive up inflation. He's asking, and then he says, are just investors, are they wrong about this?
You mentioned Taiwan. You said you would defend them. You also seem to imply that on Putin, you would not. Putin, you seem to imply that you had talked to him without actually confirming
I
it.
said I don't comment on those things.
What about? Can I ask you?
Yeah, I said I'm not answering that.
About the dollar. You talked about wars at the New York Economic Club. You said that if you lost the dollar as a reserve currency, it would be like America losing a war.
Yeah.
You look at what you're going to do.
Okay, so when we talk about reserve currency, this is just talking about like which countries keep American currency in reserve. That's what we're talking about. So if he's, and we've had a lot of people bring this up, that like this is one of Trump's favorite talking points. It's a MAGA one. I've never had anybody really explain it to me in a way that made a great deal of sense as to why I should be super upset about it. But yeah, now for some reason, Trump is obsessed with people using U.S. currency as a reserve currency. And I guess like in practice, it makes sense. Like if more of our currency is used around the world, it makes our currency stronger. But I don't know that a few countries choosing not to keep more in reserve makes it a war. I do know that it was beneficial for Egypt to have $10 million of U.S. currency on hand, because then they were able to quickly give that to Trump.
In terms
Maybe
of
that's where he learned about it.
Drive countries to use the other currencies, and all that debt is also going to lessen the dollar's status as the world's reserve currency.
If
Do
I'm
you worry
elected,
about
the
that?
dollar is so secure, your reserve currency is the strongest it'll ever be. And
You
no
say
country.
that, you said, President Trump, at the moment there is a thing called the Trump trade in the markets. Do you know what that is? The Trump trade is very simple. People
he doesn't
are betting that your policies are going to drive up debt, they're going to drive up inflation, so they're going to drive up interest rates. Are the investors wrong?
Yeah, I had 4 years, no inflation.
If we had 4 years and there was inflation every year, it was above 2% until COVID, and then that dropped down to 1.7, then I think 1.3%. But again, like numbers fucking matter. And he was handed an economy with roughly 2% inflation. And our economy hovers in the 2s. That's where they want it. That's good. He was handed that. He maintained it for 2 years, and then it plummeted due to COVID. By the way, 1% inflation is bad. He's bragging about 1.7 and 1.3% inflation. That's bad. Yeah, okay, RTP. Come on up, Long Island. Let's talk about it. Come tell me about inflation. Come tell me about why inflation is good or bad. I bet you don't know, but you're welcome to come up. Guest box is open. You don't have to stay. You don't have to stay down there. But it absolute lie that he had zero inflation. And either Donald Trump is a liar or he doesn't understand it. And I'm going to guess it was both.
So they're going to drive up inflation interest rates.
At least it's not 17%. Yeah, at least it's not 17%. Good point. I mean, it's not 17% now. It hasn't been 17%. But yeah, 17% would be bad.
Yeah, I had 4 years, no inflation. I had 4 years, no inflation.
But that was when you had much.
I had 4 years. It's better than that.
Hey, clap at it. That's how dumb these folks are. That New York, Long Island, that's your crowd. Yay! That's probably true. It's not true. It's just not true. Jen, sorry, I didn't see your. Okay, Jen. Yeah, I have that one I have that actually on the list, Jen. So we're good.
And Biden, who has no idea where the hell he is, okay? Biden went 2 years with no inflation because he inherited from me. And then they started spending money like drunken.
That also didn't happen. Like if you look at inflation by year, I'll pull this up. He doesn't know anything. It's crazy how little this guy knows about our country. If you look at inflation rates, let me pull up this chart here. This one's moving a little faster, thank God. All right. Biden took over in 2021. 7%. It hit 7% in 2021. 6.5, 3.4, 2. Where's these 2 years that he had of no inflation? Where are they? What's he talking about? Like now he's rewriting history to say that Joe Biden inherited no inflation. Yeah, it was at 1.4 because of COVID. And as we opened back up in 2021, inflation rose. And we had the annual inflation rate in 2021, Joe Biden's first year in office. Again, under all Trump's policies, by the way. The highest inflation ever got was all under Trump's policies. 2021 was Trump's policies. Biden took office, but his policies didn't go into place until 2022. And that's when we saw a reduction. So this 7% that people want to say is Joe Biden's fault, those were Trump policies. But again, there was no scenario where there wasn't inflation under Joe Biden. Trump always had inflation. There you could see it there. Joe Biden never had low inflation that was handed by Trump. It was 7%. That's like what he's basically saying is that in January when he took over, but actually that's not even what he's saying because he said 2 years. Let's hear it again. Let's hear this claim again.
And Biden, who has no idea where the hell he is, okay? Biden went 2 years with no inflation because he inherited from me. And then they started spending money like drunken sailors. They spent so much money. It was so ridiculous, the money they were spending. They were spending on the Green News.
Mickey, it's incredible to me that I can show you the data and then you'll call it misinformation. What does that say about you? I just showed you the data and you're like, misinformation. That's data. What it tells you about you, Mickey, is that you don't care. And you will literally believe anything this guy says. Like, you guys are so cucked to him that he answers something. I show you the data. He didn't show you any data. And you're like, you're lying. Oh, we do have some requests here. Oh, good. All right, Mickey, tell me about this inflation. Why is this inflation misinformation? Mickey? There you are.
Why are you being very disingenuous? Can you hear me? I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Why? It's just you're disingenuous because you know what you're doing,
What am I doing?
Also,
What am I doing?
You're disingenuous because you know the numbers, and you know I know you know your numbers.
Okay, let's look at them.
You know your numbers. One.
Okay, let's look at them.
Who caused it? Two.
Let's look at them.
You know.
What are the numbers?
But you're being disingenuous.
Let's look at them. Let's look at them. When Trump said that Biden had zero inflation, is that true?
You're like, bro.
Mickey, if you're going to call other people disingenuous, then when I ask you questions, don't run from them because then you look disingenuous.
He said, first of all, it's 2021, right? That is the 2021. Wait, hold up. I can't see that chart.
Okay, well, I can tell you in 2021, the annual inflation rate was 7%.
That's insane. Exactly. You can.
But Trump said, but Trump said Biden had no inflation his first 2 years. So 2021 and 2022, shouldn't that number be 0? But it's 7 and 6.5.
Well, I'm not. He misspoke. But it's
he did finally. So who's giving misinformation? Was it me or was it Trump on this case?
Well, you said like inflation is because of other shit. Like
I said inflation was because of other shit.
You can directly correlate inflation and the cost of living to the Biden administration. It's so easy. It's not even like what are you doing?
Okay, so if you all right, let's do it then, Mickey. So explain.
No. I don't know why.
No, you said it's easy to explain, so I'm going to give you the opportunity to explain. Inflation was annual inflation rate was 7% in 2021. Link that to the Biden administration.
Oh, easy, because they were spending more, and you can look at this.
Do you know how budgets work? So when they approve, that's how you spend, buddy. That's how you spend. That's called a budget. So when Biden got into office in what year?
Why do you do this?
What year
I don't
did
get it.
because Mickey, because I'm trying to help you. Why when just answer the question,
no,
but
you're not.
please have a
You have-
conversation. Mickey, please have a conversation. Please. Please, I'm begging you to just have a conversation. What year did Biden get in office?
What year did he get into office?
Yeah.
2021.
Okay, and then they passed some spending bills, right?
Oh yeah.
And when did that
another
spend?
package,
And when did
another
that
COVID
spending?
package.
And when did that spending go into effect?
Another COVID, including
And when
another,
did that
COVID
spending go into effect?
emergency package.
And when did that?
And also
no,
the-
and when did that
and
spending
also-
go into effect?
What do you? Okay, yeah.
What year?
The spending of 2021 was in part because of 2020.
And whose budget was that?
That was obviously Trump's. No, that was signed by
The president, who in 2020 the president would have been.
and the 2020. Okay, yeah, the 2021 budget. Yes,
Okay, gotcha. So Biden's spending would have went into largely would have went into effect in 2022, right?
No, because there was another emergency, another lockdown emergency act, and also another one, the Inflation Reduction Act, which was also
The
another.
Inflation
bullshit
Reduction
which
Act
was-
didn't go into
it was
place.
never
The Inflation Reduction Act didn't go into place in 2021, bud.
No, I'm just saying another one.
But
They
we're
kept
talking
on
about
having-
2021, so let's just stick to what happened in
just went on a
2021.
spending spree.
It was
Why
a
are you
Trump.
lying?
We had a Trump budget, right?
And you know
it was
this too.
Trump's.
I don't get
It
it.
was.
Oh my goodness.
You don't seem to know this, Mickey.
No,
you keep
because
saying
you-
that I know these things, but you don't seem to know them.
How in the world? How, this is I don't get it. Like
I know.
How in the world you're twisting yourself like a fucking like.
That's you,
it's
bud.
insane. Why?
That's
why?
you, bud.
You're wild. You're wild. Like
Aw.
why you do this? Why?
Do
how,
what?
How is?
Do
How
what,
is
Mickey?
Biden's inflation? Are you gonna? How are you gonna blame that on Trump? That's crazy.
I'm not. I'm saying in 2021, we're dealing with spending approved by the Trump administration. And in 2022, we're dealing with inflation, spending that from the Biden administration. So when we're talking about 2021, when inflation was at its highest, if you're going to blame Joe Biden, that's going to be tricky. It's going to be tricky because you've got to explain how Joe Biden did all this spending in the year that they passed the budget, and the spending was for the next year.
You see, this is the level of political gymnastics.
The only gymnastics
And
that's
normal
happening
people-
here is every
normal-
time I ask you a question, you try and figure out a way how to not
No,
answer a
because
question.
it tells
You're
me
the
more
only
about
one
you
doing gymnastics here,
than
bud.
about the conversation. It tells me more about you, which is like because you do this and then you
I do
you know
data.
how to
I show you
conversate.
data. Yeah.
No, it's not.
No, I
we
don't show you data.
You're twisting and turning, and it's not even like even the argument doesn't even stand.
How many?
My apologies.
Like maybe like you have background noise.
No, the thing is like you're not answering any questions, so people are accusing you of being like a bot. Because all you're doing is like making personal attacks on me. I'm just showing you data, man. I'm just sitting here showing you data, and you're getting mad at the data. Donald Trump said there was no inflation for 2 years under Joe Biden. That's not true. Donald Trump said that there was no inflation while he was president. That's not true. Nothing he said is true. So why are you getting mad at me for pointing out that everything he just said was a lie?
I honestly like.
Please answer my question. Please answer my question. If
Unless you
Donald
wanna
Trump
have-
said there was no inflation when he was president, and for 2 years there was no inflation for Joe Biden, why are you getting mad at me for correcting him? Why are you upset with me that I corrected him?
Within target.
Please wait till the end of my sentences before you start talking, and then we can have a conversation. Why are you upset with me because I showed that Trump was wrong?
He was within his inflation target.
He said zero.
And the cost of living
He said
was
zero.
not.
He
the cost
said
of living-
zero.
Like he's saying, like it was normal. That's what he's saying.
No, he said no
He
inflation.
exaggerates a
He
lot.
said, yeah, I know, and I'm correcting his record. He's such a liar that we always have to correct his record. The reason
but
he
he
exaggerates, Mickey, the reason he
dramatic
exaggerates
effect.
a lot is because the truth isn't very fucking good. So he has to exaggerate, and then when you guys get caught believing the exaggeration, you're like, oh, well, yeah, it wasn't true, but he's just exaggerating. Yeah, no shit. That's what people who suck at their job have to do to convince people that they did a good job. They have to lie about everything to convince. Please wait till I'm done. They have to lie about everything to convince people that they've done a good job. I'm just pointing out the lies. I don't know why you have a problem with me and not him. He's the one that lied, not me.
Like it's so insane.
See, there you go again. You're going to attack me again, and you're not going to answer the question. Why are you upset with me for correcting his data?
The truth is simple. The truth is very simple. The truth is simple in that, like, you need to know that the cost of living is up during the Biden administration.
Everybody knows that. Everybody knows that, except for apparently
it's
Trump, because Trump said there were 2 years of no inflation. The 2 years of the highest inflation are when Trump says there was no inflation. I know that. You know that. Trump doesn't seem to know that. Nobody can hear you, brother. My mic is way louder than yours. If I'm talking, just be quiet. Nobody can hear you.
Because I get nasty. I get good DMs, but I get nasty DMs too. Like you guys are nasty. You guys are hateful. Like I'm not even joking. Like
I don't
very
care.
hateful.
I don't care.
I know you don't.
You want to talk about DMs? You should see my DMs, bud. Every day I get a death. Every day somebody threatens my life. Every single day. But you know what I don't do? Come on here and cry about it like you are. You guys are mean. I know that we're supposed to be talking about data right now, but I'm changing the subject to how you guys are mean. You guys are all such babies, man.
I'm not complaining.
Grow up.
I'm not
Grow up.
complaining. I'm not
Toughen up,
complaining.
Chief. Toughen up.
I'm not complaining.
No, you got to
Trust me,
toughen up, man. Bootstraps it. Bootstraps time.
You guys need to toughen up because
we are. We're fine. We're talking about data right now.
When a man exaggerates for dramatic effect and for political effect.
Why does he need... Wait, what political effect? Wait, explain that. What does political effect mean?
He's saying the economy is better under me. That's all he's saying.
No, he's not. He actually didn't say that.
Any normal person would go, yeah, actually.
Wait, he didn't say that. He didn't say that. Now you're making up words. He didn't say that. He said there was no inflation under him, and for 2 years, Joe Biden had no inflation. He did not say the economy was better under me. You're making that up.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness. It's crazy how, like, when I bring up words that nobody said and claim that they said it, you're like, no, nobody said that.
You know, like, when you talk about
Tell me more about me, Mickey. Please address the data at some point.
What do you? We just talked about the data. Can we?
So
agree
did Trump lie?
He kind of. Is that a lie? An exaggeration is a lie to you?
Yes.
Well, yeah. Like I exaggerate a lot.
If you say there was no inflation and there was if you say there's no inflation and instead there was inflation, yes, you're lying. That's a lie.
Don't you exaggerate on here all the time?
I don't think so.
You know,
what do I exaggerate about?
When you say he's going to become a dictator, do you think he's going to become a dictator? Or
no.
do you think he's a
no?
Do you
no.
Think he's a,
no. Don't keep going as if I said yes. I said no.
So you don't think he's going to be one, right?
No.
So you do think he's going to be a dictator? That's what you're saying? Like you can't.
What?
You
Bro, I said no. I said no.
No to what?
I just said no, and you're like, so you're saying he's going to be a dictator? No, I'm not saying that. Oh, so you're saying he's going to be a dictator? No, I'm not saying that. Oh, so you're saying he's going to be a dictator? Wait, I said no. N-O. No.
Is he a threat to democracy?
Yes.
Is he a threat to democracy?
Yes,
How?
absolutely.
So why not? If you think that's the truth, why not shoot the guy? Why not? Why not pew pew? Why not pew pew the guy?
Well, that's not how I operate, bud.
Oh,
what
really?
I do is instead of doing that, I come on here every day and I give
Oh.
data, and then you come up and you
Then you
show
don't
the
have the
difference, and
balls.
you show the
Then you don't have
difference,
the balls.
and you
I
show
would
the
say.
difference.
I would say.
And you show the difference between somebody who's educated and somebody who's just like in love with Donald Trump and who will defend everything that he does. And before we go down this road, and before you say I don't have the balls to assassinate somebody, true. That's true. I don't have the balls nor the desire because I'm not a psycho. I muted you, Mickey. Now you can go.
If I think Harris is a threat to democracy, I would allow someone to pew her. Why not? But I don't say that, and I don't think that.
You just did say that.
No, I'm just saying if I actually thought she was going to be a George Soros plant / dictator, I would.
Do you think she's a George Soros plant?
Well, yeah, she's.
Do you think she's a threat to
globalist
democracy?
plant.
Do you think she's a threat? Do you think she's a threat to
globalist nut
democracy?
job.
Do you think she's a threat to democracy? Well, then it sounds like the criteria that you just levied there. You said if I thought that she was a George Soros plant and a threat to democracy, then what would you do, Mickey? What was that again? Did Mickey finally figure out how to mute?
She's definitely a globalist.
I said a threat to democracy, Mickey.
You know?
Please don't remember. You said that I didn't have the guts.
Easy to control for
Go
the
ahead. No.
globalists.
Go ahead and say the thing you were gonna say, Mickey. Say the thing. Say the thing. She's a threat to democracy, and George Soros
Because
plant.
if you actually thought she was-
Mickey.
because
Mickey. What do
if
you
you
think
actually
should
thought she
happen to
was-
her? Therefore, Mickey, what should happen to her? Don't be a coward now. Tell us.
If she's a threat to democracy, I think she should be in prison.
Oh, I thought you said something else. I think
Trump
you
then?
said something. I think you said something else. I thought you said
No,
something
I'm
about
just trying to prove a
assassination.
point of exaggeration.
Didn't you say
guys
that?
use-
Oh, now you're
you guys
exaggerating. So
exaggerate a lot.
when you said assassination, what you really meant was go to jail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, why
just
not?
well
If
then why
Trump
didn't you just
actually
why didn't you
committed,
just
an
say go to
insurrection
jail
crime,
then,
Why don't
Mickey?
you send him to prison?
Well, Trump.
Why
I don't
don't
know
you
if
send
you.
him to prison?
I don't
Why
know
do
if
you
you-
have to wait for the election?
I don't know if you know about this.
Why do you have to wait for the election to be over to send him to
Because
prison?
the Supreme Court keeps telling us that we have to wait. He's been convicted.
Because it's a political.
Because it's a political. No, but yeah,
everything is political.
Everything's political.
Yeah.
That's right, Mickey.
If someone
That's
actually
right, bud.
tried to cause insurrection, I would say honestly put him under the prison.
No, you
Why
wouldn't.
not?
No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't say that.
Like
You wouldn't, because he
That's
did
what
do
I would
that.
say. Why-
Because he
why-
did do that. He did incite an insurrection. He did know that an
Because,
insurrection was coming.
you know,
He
there's
did
something
know. He
inside
did.
you
Excuse
that
me.
goes,
Excuse me, Mickey.
know what?
Mickey, listen, brother. I want to have a conversation, but you got to be quiet. You got to be quiet when I start talking. Okay. If you want to have a conversation, I'm happy to do it. I'm not going to give you any more airtime if you're just going to move side to side on everything. I think he did commit an insurrection, and they've been doing everything they can to make sure that he wasn't investigated. And it looks like that's going to go through. But he is a felon. He is a convicted felon, and he may get jail time. But that's not going to happen before the election. Because if you're rich in this country and you're powerful, you can avoid litigation. You can postpone litigation. You can postpone even sentencing. And you can even convince judges that you are above the law, which is what he did. Mickey, you're muted, bud.
That's a very first you say you believe in the rule of law.
Correct.
First you say that you believe in the court system. Then you say
I
believe
actually
in
haven't
the
said
felony
either of
charges.
those. I didn't say
But then-
either of those
you know
things,
what?
Mickey. I didn't say any
But-
of that.
And then you say, and then
Mickey,
halfway through,
Mickey,
wait,
Mickey,
and then
Mickey.
you
No,
say-
not wait, Mickey. You can't
And then you
start a
say-
sentence and say that I said two things that I didn't just say. What I said is that I believe
And then
Donald
you
Trump
switch-
is an
and then you switch-
insurrectionist. That's what I said.
No, first you say I believe the courts and I believe
never
what they
said
stand
that.
for.
I
And then
never
you say,
said
you know
that.
what?
Wait, Mickey,
The rich
I didn't
people,
say
they
that,
get away
Mickey.
with it. You
Excuse me,
switch.
Mickey. I didn't say that.
You keep on switching.
I didn't say. All right, Mickey. Have a good
Because
day.
you're
bud.
being
Have a good day. I'm done with Mickey. I see people in the box. If you are opposition, you can stay in the box. If you're up here to argue with Mickey, sorry. That's a benefit only I get. Let me check comments real quick. Matthew says, ask Mickey if they pay by the conversation or by the minute at the call center. It sounded like a call center, but then it also sounded like a truck backing up. So I don't know. Charles, wonder if Trump takes insulin for his diabetes. I like that. We need it. What's a different name for insulin? I like that one, Charles. Ashley says, 2 old ladies were sitting on a park bench when a man in a trench coat walked up and flashed them. One of the old ladies had a stroke, and the other one couldn't quite reach. Jesus Christ. The other one couldn't quite reach. Sorry, I didn't finish that. Swish says, do you have a dollar amount for immediate guest kick? No, I don't. I don't have that. All right. I'm going to bring up... Jen, who was next? I think you told me... Was it Jovi or Thomas? I don't know which one of you is next. I'll bring them up one by one. Oh, shit. I clicked on the wrong one. Thomas. Hey, Thomas. Thomas. Thomas is gone. Jovi. What's up, Jovi?
Hey, so you're just going to ignore the inflation that we're going to be seeing during this administration coming up?
No, wait, what?
Yeah, we're going to be seeing massive inflation.
Says who?
The data shows it.
What data?
We're going to be seeing, the Chiefs are going to run up a massive score. The numbers are going to be crazy this weekend.
I hate you so much. Damn it. Fucking Cam. I'm not gonna. Are we playing the Chiefs this week? God damn it, that's not good. That's not good. I don't know if we can ever beat Patrick Mahomes. That's not good. Awesome Possum. Welcome. No, Awesome Possum. Some of you guys, Corey, it says we're friends. I know you were next. Guys, please, if you're not opposition to hop out, maybe you don't know you're in the box. That's fine. Corey. Call center part 2. Same call center. Maybe. What was that? What was it? Taxes, death, Jay will mute, and Jay will fall for Cam. That's unfortunately incredibly accurate. Ann says Mickey is a disinformation agent. Many accounts. Yeah, guys. I did anybody clip Mickey's account there? Anybody clip that? They've gathered an entire calendar center for. Look, I'll take on their whole fucking call center. I would love that. I think that'd be great. Beast, no hype. I'll give you some hype, Beast. Beast, no hype. Maybe nothing there. Hannah said, what do tofu and dildos have in common? They're both meat substitutes. Chill, chat, chill. You're my favorite. Thank you, Hannah. I liked that one. I think I got Matthews already. Ann also says, screen recording whenever I hear him. Beautiful. All right. All hype or no hype, whatever, not there. User, there's a lot of users, and then I see learn auto body. Thank you, Niner Gang. I hope you have a good feeling, but I think Mason's out. I don't know. I feel like the Niners are like the rest of the league's kind of catching them right now. Jones Raid, welcome everybody from the Jones Raid. It's great to have you here. We're having either technical difficulties or just I don't know. Nobody's calls will come through. We'll get back. Thank you guys. If you're here, thanks, brother. Learn Auto Body, welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
When your Utopia sales position is over in 2 weeks, what are you going to do?
Is this Dale?
No.
Oh, Okay. My utopia what? Oh, it's hoodie.
Yeah,
It's hoodie. Sorry.
Yeah. When you're utopia.
You sound like Dale, kind of. That's weird.
Yeah, I don't know who Dale is.
Yeah. That's good. Hey, that's good for you. I just want you to know that I'm happy for you that you don't know who Dale is. And I'm happy for anybody else who doesn't know who Dale is either. So my utopia when it's over, what do you mean by utopia? Are you saying like if Trump wins, what'll happen?
Yeah, what are you going to do when Trump wins in a couple of weeks?
If we're being honest, if it's about content, like if this really was about content, it's better for me if Trump wins.
Okay.
Because he's gonna give me something newsworthy every single day.
Okay. And that's good, right? For you?
Well, it's good for me content wise, but I think for the country it's not a good thing. Like if Kamala wins and Trump goes away, the tone of this show will probably totally change because we'll be able to talk about real issues. Like I won't have to spend right now. I spend most of my time just trying to find that 1 in 50 Trump supporter or 1 in probably more than that Trump supporter who believes in data. And if I show them enough data, they'll be like, all right, this guy's an obvious liar. And then there's the people that no matter how much data they're shown, it won't matter. I can't get through to them. But sometimes even a conversation with them, somebody else will hear it and they'll be like, like Mickey. Everybody that listened to Mickey is like, yeah, that guy's not willing to answer questions. Like that guy's not willing to engage. I think those conversations are useful for me.
I got you. So, like, do you think that the media campaign that Kamala has been on has helped bring over independent voters?
I don't know, honestly.
You're a political guy, you know.
Well, look, the people that it's clear who each party is targeting. Kamala's campaign is targeting disaffected Republicans and people who clearly don't like Trump. And there's a lot of those people. So it's smart to target those people. Trump's is harder to tell because Trump is targeting people who historically haven't voted. It worked for him in 2016. It didn't work in 2020. I don't know if it'll work now. So it's hard to tell. And both sets of people that they're targeting don't really show up in polls. And so it's really honestly hard to tell who's winning with the voters that they need, like who's going to turn out more of the voters that they need. Honestly, I'm not trying to dodge the question. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I don't think you're dodging. That was genuine answer. Last election, he got, I think it was like 75 million votes, which is up from his 2016 win. So he got the most votes of any sitting president ever. And when you look at like RFK and his team that he's put together, right? Would it be a conversation to say that he could potentially get like 100 million votes?
No, there's no shot. I don't think so.
Well,
the thing is the coalition he's built, he brought in Tulsi Gabbard, who has no following outside of Republicans. He brought in RFK, and if you look at the polling, most of the people that were voting for RFK were just Republicans. He hasn't brought in people that bring extra voters in. Meanwhile, 42 out of the 44 members of his cabinet have either endorsed Kamala or have said, vote third party, don't vote for Trump. She has a coalition of Republicans across this country. Like you can watch basically any Kamala rally. There's going to be an elected Republican on stage endorsing her. Tulsi Gabbard, not an elected Democrat. RFK, not an elected Democrat. And as much as they want to say like RFK was like a hero on the left, frankly, most of us had never heard of him until he was running for president. Most of us didn't know a goddamn thing about him, including me. Like I've been in politics for a long time. I knew that he existed. That's about it.
Well, I think that a lot of his voter base came from the Libertarian Party. Typically, the Libertarian Party doesn't put out a good candidate.
Their candidate's incredible. Actually, the Libertarians could cost Donald Trump Florida and Texas. I don't think they will, but Chase Oliver, who is their candidate, is the best candidate that they've ever had. and he appeals to a lot of people. So Chase Oliver could potentially be a spoiler in a couple races. I don't think he will, but maybe in the Senate races, like who knows? But no, RFK wasn't getting libertarian voters. RFK was getting anti-vax conspiracy theorists.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah. So, I mean, if he got 75 and Biden got 81, I mean, we've seen the data from how Kamala is losing within the union.
She's dominating unions. Dominating. She has the endorsement of every single union except for the Teamsters, and out of the 1.3 million members from the Teamsters, the endorsements from local Teamster unions make up over 1 million of those people. So she doesn't have the endorsement from the national Teamsters, but over 1 million out of the 1.3 million members of the Teamsters have effectively endorsed her through their local chapters. She's killing it with unions.
So let me just ask you, with the economy in a downturn and them changing the qualification of what a recession
downturn?
is, absolutely.
You think it's in a downturn right now?
Yes.
So you think the economy's in a worse place now than it was like 2 years ago?
Absolutely.
By what measure?
Well, we have the largest jobs loss since like 2005. Based on unemployment claims.
What's unemployment, like 4% right now?
Well, it's gone up, and
yeah, it was at like 3.5. I think it's like 4.1 now.
Yeah, so
you think that's the great? Like there was like we were at 17% unemployment at one point during the COVID pandemic. How could this possibly be the biggest job loss in American history?
Well, I think that when you look at data, right, if you go to the extreme position and then go from there, I think that your numbers aren't going to work out.
Okay, so we're at 4.1 right now, which is basically where Trump was when he took over. He hovered around 4, 3.9, 3.8, back up to 4 there, and it got all the way down to 3.6, which we hit. So I mean, we're basically in the same. We're basically living in the same range as during the Trump administration. And we've definitely seen an uptick here in since January of unemployment. Went from 3.7 to now 4.1.
So when you're on that roller coaster, right? The very first little incline where they're taking you up and you get to the crest, and there's that moment where like you're not being pushed anymore. The front started to go down, but you're still on the backside. That's pretty much where the economy is right now.
Then why? But look, here we are at unemployment. If you look at this chart here, if you look all the way to the far right, there's where we're at. As far 2010, 12, 13, 4. I mean, we were higher than that up until when did we finally get below where we're at now? We were higher than that until midway through Trump's presidency. So explain to me how we're at numbers that we were at midway through Trump's presidency, and you're convincing me that like we're at the top. The top was up here 9.9. The top was up here at, I said 17%. Sorry, it's 14%. This is the top. This is where you're about to crash. Like there's no evidence that being at 4.1 is being at the top about to crash.
Right. So what's happening is you're having the quarter earnings reports not being met. You have companies shrinking. You have them cleaning up their labor forces.
Why are the quarterly earnings not being met? And by the way, that's not across the board. Obviously, like we have record highs in the stock market. So most of the companies are meeting their quarterly earnings. That's why their stock price goes up. You think if all the companies in the country were not meeting quarterly earnings, then the stock market would be in a free fall, but that's not happening. Most of them are having record profits.
Right, which you complain about calling it price gouging. So
no, I don't call it price gouging. It's not what I call it. I call it corporate greed.
Okay, let's call it corporate greed. So you're toting a 401k stock market, but then you're saying
No. I don't think the stock. No, look, I don't think that the stock market is overwhelmingly slanted to help the rich. I'm just saying that if what you were saying was true, if most companies in America were not meeting their quarterly earnings, then the stock market would be dropping. It's a clear indicator that what you're saying isn't true. I'm not defending these corporations. I'm not saying our system is great. I'm not even defending Joe Biden. The reason stocks are up is because quarterly earnings are up. That doesn't really have a lot to do with Joe Biden, and it didn't have much to do with Donald Trump when they were hitting record highs either.
So I don't like to use the stock market as an indicator, like what you're.
You don't think it's a good indicator to determine whether or not most companies are having quarterly earnings losses?
No, because it could be falsely propped up by investors looking to, boost their earnings.
What? Explain that. Explain that.
Yeah, I think that the market is a long time overdue for a major correction. And I think that
but what your claim is that quarterly earnings are down across the board. That's not true.
No, I didn't say across the board. I said there are quarterly earnings reports that are affecting the job losses is what we were talking about.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, that happens. Yeah.
Yeah. And when you look at, Teslas and
by the way, why does that happen? Why do quarterly earnings affect job loss?
Because as a company, you have to forecast, and if you miss your sales targets, then you're probably going to slow down production on whatever that is.
Why?
Because the trend is you're not selling as many widgets, whatever those widgets are.
And what happens if the company makes less money? Do they pass it? Do they usually get rid of shareholders? Do they get rid of C-level people? What usually happens? Who loses their job?
Typically, labor is the most expensive expense on.
You wouldn't call that corporate greed? When rather than taking a loss and maintaining their employees, they just fire the employees so that their stock market or their stock price goes back up again, and then they give their CEO a bonus.
No, I think that as a company, they probably take that very serious and do that as a last resort. I think
no, it's not a last resort. A last resort, you could take losses. You could cut CEO pay. You could cut dividends. You could cut spending as a company. You could get rid of corporate jets. You could get rid of a lot of things, but they always seem to get rid of the employees.
Yeah, I would much rather streamline inventory and projected purchase requirements first before I would get rid of employees. But
yeah, they don't do that.
Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't.
Okay.
But I
sounds
I
like a bad system to me. Sounds
Well,
like sounds like we need some intervention to force these corporations to do the right thing. See, corporations are like, we take all the risk. No, you don't. No, you don't. You don't take the risk. The employees take all the risk. They're the ones they're the ones that pay when the stock price dips. And somehow conservatives have been convinced that these billionaires, what heroes, they're taking all this risk. No, they're not. They don't take any risk. They pass that risk along to literally everybody else. That's why anytime a company goes under, on the way to that company going under, it's usually as they see the writing on the wall, you see all these executives and start gutting the company, giving themselves bonuses, selling off whatever they possibly can, and they get out of there making a bunch of money, and all the employees lose their jobs.
That has definitely happened. I will give you that.
Yeah, because we don't have any protections as workers.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, I would much rather see everything be decentralized and go back to more of a community-based small business, an economy where we don't have any too big to fails.
Welcome to the left, brother. It's nice to have you.
No, Jay.
Excuse me. Wait, which Trump policies would lead to that?
Well, I think when he's talking about a strong middle class in America again, that starts with opportunity, right?
Yeah,
And when
I can say, if I said I want a strong middle class, and then I was like, and then you're like, what's your plan for the middle class? And I didn't have one, you'd be like, well, that's stupid. What's Trump's plan for the middle class?
Well, I think that
To strengthen it.
When you look at when the soldiers came back from World War II, what was waiting for them? It was opportunity. That's what was waiting for them.
Hold on. Oh yeah. Sorry, keep going. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, it was opportunity that was waiting for them. It was the newfound skills that they had.
Okay, but what's Trump's plan? Now you're just telling me something that happened in history. I need to read something. Trump takes insulin for his diabetes. That's from Ron. Ron, you win comments so far today. But what's Trump's plan? You're just telling me about something that happened in history, and I'd like to know what his plan is for the middle class.
Yeah, I think that's exactly that. Is to open up the opportunity to be your own business.
How's he going to do that? What's his plan to do that?
Well, I think that remove the red tape that would require a person to complete to get involved in that business.
What red tape? What red tape are you talking about?
Well, I personally think that the biggest red tape that we have in this country, whether in any industry, is insurance. The insurance companies in this country need to be revamped, re-regulated. I don't know what it is, but they are the single biggest
lost you there. Yeah, so
that?
maybe we shouldn't have for-profit insurance companies then.
Well, I don't think that we should. That's correct.
Okay, well then, welcome to the left, where we get universal health care, where the government guarantees home loans, where the government would be the insurance provider. Welcome to the left. Welcome to the left, dude. It's good to have you.
Hold on. Let me just make this very clear. You have very few insurance companies at the top, and it's this illusion of choice that has been propagated to make people think that there's a lot of insurance companies.
Why are there only a few?
Well, that's the question.
Because of deregulation, maybe because we didn't take care of small insurance companies, and we allowed these monoliths, these massive monopolies to exist. Is that what happened? Because we deregulated that industry so much?
I would love to see the antitrust laws kick into
Welcome
effect.
to the left, then. Welcome to the left. If you guys would stop voting for these dumb dicks on the right, then we could get this stuff. Literally, if you and everybody who thinks like you, which granted, you're far more educated than most conservatives on this issue. But if you and all the other educated conservatives on this issue voted for exactly what you're talking about, you would vote blue down ballot. There's not a single Republican you could point to that is advocating this. Not one. There's nobody on your ballot that's running as a Republican that's advocating for this.
I would think that based on what's going on in California specifically and Florida, I would choose those two states as the examples. I mean, we're looking at
how are insurance rates in California versus like the raising of rates? Compare Florida and California. Whose insurance rates are rising astronomically?
Both.
Which one's rising faster?
California.
It's not even close. It's Florida. It's Florida.
Well, ours
it's Florida.
Are
Florida's number one in the country by miles. Everybody else's insurance is going up too. I get it. My insurance is going up, but Florida is outpacing the entire nation. And that is a deeply red state. And there are no protections for consumers. They've stripped all the protections for consumers. And when they did that, these insurance companies were like, fuck yeah, we got to keep our margins. So even though there's all these hurricanes, they have to keep their margins. So they're never going to take a loss. They're never going to take a loss. So the more hurricanes we have, the more that price is going to go up. And they'll never, ever, ever take a loss. Anytime they pay out, they're just going to raise rates to recoup that money.
Right, and because of that, instead of paying
So what if we didn't
$1,400
have
a
a
year,
for-profit
it's
insurance
$37.
company? So what if it wasn't for-profit?
Well, like in California, there are some individuals that are uninsurable, and because of that, they have a state-ran uninsurable policy that all of the carriers have to be on board with, and that's up 407%.
Okay.
So that means that collectively the state and the insurance companies are now responsible. So I guess it is considered possibly a state insurance program.
No, it's not.
But
No, it's not. No, it's not. It's a for-profit insurance program. Let's take a look at this. States where home insurance costs are surging the highest: Florida, Louisiana, Oklahoma. What do those three have in common? Louisiana, Maine, Michigan, Utah, Montana, South Carolina, North Carolina, Illinois, Connecticut, Nevada. Red, purple, red.
I don't think it has anything to do with whether it's Democrat or Republican.
Yes,
think
it does, because Republicans deregulate.
Yeah, but who is mandating?
Did you see how California wasn't on that list?
Who is mandating the fact that people need insurance policies instead of bonds? Who's mandating that? See, it's the
instead of bonds. What do you mean instead of bonds?
Yeah, a bond.
You want to have bonds for your house?
Well, yeah.
For your home insurance?
It's more effective.
Well, great. Yeah, that would be a government-run insurance program.
But what I'm saying, no, an insurance bond.
Yeah, but you could run that you could run that. It could be guaranteed by the government.
Yeah, but what you don't understand here is that when you have a mortgage, that's not allowed. When you have a car, that's not allowed.
Yeah, why do you think that is?
Well,
why do you think? Why do you think that is? Do you think it's possible that a bunch of people are being paid by these insurance companies to make it so that and who's the group that's always saying we need to free up the private market? The private market or the free markets will bring down the cost, and then they never do. They just never do. Costs just keep going up. Every time they say we're going to deregulate to bring down prices, it never fucking happens. Ever.
Well, yeah.
Ever. It always just goes up.
It's the lobbyists and the insurance companies.
Agreed. And we know that those people, that the right is completely owned by them. And the middle of the left is also owned by them. The only people standing up to them are all on the left. So if you ignored moderate Democrats and you just voted for progressive Democrats, you're far more likely to get these things done. But if you keep voting for Republicans, this will get worse.
But see, the only problem with that, Jay, is that you have
then you'd have to vote for Democrats.
Well, hold on, you have a social list of issues that go along with that.
Like what?
That I will never stand behind ever.
Like what?
I think that this idea of making all communities special is going to lead to the.
What does that mean? You don't believe all communities are special?
I think that all communities have needs,
but you don't think they're special? Is that what you're saying?
No. What I think.
So what are you talking about? Be more specific then.
What I'm saying is the Republicans are looking at to find out what we can do for the betterment of all. And
no, they're not.
I see the
no,
Democrats
they're not.
doing.
No, they're not. Wait, no, they're not. We just discussed this. What are they advocating?
For a stronger middle class, for an opportunity.
No, they're not. They're saying that, but there's no policies for that. Here's what I think you're saying. You can tell me because I think you're dancing around this. I think what you're saying is that on the left, we have taken special attention to groups or communities where we believe that their rights are not being granted in the same way that they're being granted to everybody else. And we're advocating that they get the same rights. And you're saying because you don't believe those people or because you believe they're sinning or icky, whatever it might be, that because we're advocating for them to have equal rights, you can't vote for progressives. Is that right?
No,
Okay.
that's not it at all. I don't.
So
give
be
a
more
fuck
specific then.
I don't give a fuck what somebody wants to call themselves. They want to be purple, pink, green, yellow, wear a dress, not wear a dress. I don't fucking care. Okay. The problem for me is when I have to change everything about my expectations of what I stand for because of that.
What do you mean?
Telling them.
What do you mean? What would you be required to change?
Well, I don't think that the opposite perspective should be in private spaces.
What do you mean?
Like places where people would unclothe. Okay?
You don't think trans people should be allowed in bathrooms?
No, I don't think that the opposite sex should be in.
You don't think if you're born a man that you should ever be allowed to go into a woman's restroom? That's what you're saying.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
How come in countries where they don't have gendered bathrooms, excuse me? How come in other countries where there's not gendered bathrooms, there's no problems? Like we don't see a bunch of problems.
It's single service restrooms.
No, it's not. You ever traveled?
No, I don't. I've never been to Europe.
Okay. Yeah. Well, if you knew, there are bathrooms, like there's stalls, dude.
Okay.
Like nobody. What are you worried about?
No,
you're just worried that somebody with different genitals will be taking his shit at the same time you are in the same room.
Is that the issue? Does everyone have the right to feel like they're safe, Jay? Yes or no?
No.
Then that's why I can have a vote left.
What you can't, brother? Wrong. You can't give rights to feelings.
No, I'm sorry. When you take your clothes off, right?
Mm-hmm. Do you take your clothes off in public bathrooms?
Well, sometimes I
brother, I got news for you. You could just, when you take a shit, the clothes don't have to come all the way off. You pull your shirt up above your asshole, and then you take your pants down, maybe below your knees. You can keep your shoes on. It's weird. It's more weird that you're getting naked to take a shit. That's the weirdest part about this.
Hey, everyone has their rituals, Jay. Right?
Gotcha. So, and then are you just doing this at the urinal? Or do you go into a stall? Okay, so now that you've got walls so nobody can see you, now what's the problem? So somebody next to you doesn't have the same genitals, but because they're near you and you're naked for some reason in a public bathroom, you have the right to tell them they can't be in there?
So I'm pretty sure you and I have already had this conversation. We can have it again if we want to, but I'm just saying that you asked me, that I should, if that's how I feel, that I should vote for the left. And I'm saying that I can never vote for the left because of the fact that you're giving somebody else's rights to somebody else. You're not bringing up.
Let me ask you a question.
You're tearing one down to bring one up, and I will never.
Excuse me. Who's being okay? So how is this different? How is this argument different than saying black people can't use the same bathroom as me? How's this a different argument?
Because that's not the country we currently live in.
How's it a different argument, I said?
I'm sorry?
How's it a different argument?
Well, at one point in time, segregation existed, yes.
Yeah, hopefully we agree that was wrong, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the difference here?
Because the difference is somebody else's idea of what they are does not trump somebody else's privacy rights.
Wait, but that was the same argument that white folks were making. They're like, I'm not the same as these black people. I don't believe that they deserve the same rights as me. They cannot be in the bathroom with me. Like, I have the right to shit with other whites. There can't no blacks in my bathroom. I want white shits only. How's this a different argument? How's this a different? No, I just want to know how it's a different argument, because you're saying your feelings towards trans people means that you should get to say I get my own bathroom. That's the exact same argument that white people were making against black people as to why we needed segregated bathrooms. What's the difference?
Well, the difference is simply this, okay? Your party is trying to normalize.
Please don't run from this. Please don't run from this. I just
Well,
need you
I'm
to
not.
explain what the difference is.
We're talking about a mental disorder of delusion, Jay.
A mental disorder of delusion? What are you talking about?
A man is not a woman.
Oh, okay. Okay, so if so even if we took that at face value, let's just say it's a mental disorder. Should people with mental disorders not be able to go to the same bathroom as you then?
Yeah, but
they shouldn't. So if somebody has it, for example, I have ADHD. That would be qualified in the same way. That would be a mental disorder. Should I not be able to go to the same bathroom as you?
Jay, I think
what stops you from saying, hey, Jay has ADHD, that's a mental disorder, he can't be in the bathroom? What would be the difference in that argument between a trans person and me then?
Jay, I think I'm a tree. I'm going to go take a shit in the middle of the park. Is that okay?
No, because there are rules against taking shits in the middle of the park.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, but there aren't rules. But there aren't rules about
my delusion of being a tree isn't going to give me the ability to take a shit in the middle of the park.
No. See, here's the problem with that analogy. That's like saying I'm a tree, so I'm gonna unalive your father, and you're like, you can't unalive my father. That's a crime, and I'm like, oh, what? Because suddenly, because I'm a tree, it's different. Like you're not gonna let me identify as a tree. Taking a shit in a public park has nothing to do with your identity. The reason it's a crime is because you can't shit in a public park, no matter who you are. So if you did it, Dell, crime. If a trans person does it, crime. It's this. The law applies equally in that scenario.
Oh, I see. So if I identify as a bear, I can't go shit in the woods.
No, you can shit in the woods as long as nobody sees you.
Oh, I see there, boo boo.
Are you unaware that you can shit in the woods? I grew up camping. We shit in the woods all the time.
Well, I think that what we're really talking about here is ideas, right? And perspectives.
Yes,
right?
And I'm asking you why your ideas are different than the same ideas that didn't let black people enter a public restroom. Why is it different?
Sure. Because I'll tell you exactly why. Because a melanated person is a real thing.
You just say black person. You just say black person. It's fine.
A black person is black. It's evident.
They are?
Right?
Wait, no, they're not. I've never seen a black person who is actually black, right?
Okay.
By definition, they are not black.
You just told me to call them that.
Well, you said that's their identity, because now what you're saying is you're trying to say, no, that's how they identify. They identify as black. They're not actually black. Just like a trans person, like if you identify as a woman, yes, it is. This is an identity. Black is an identity.
No, I'm saying that you can physically see the fact that they are black and different than white, okay? And what I'm saying is a person who thinks that they're different isn't a tangible difference. It's a fucking idea.
Wait, what's the difference between a black person and a white person?
One is melanated and the other one isn't.
So appearance, right? What's the difference between a trans person and somebody who is cisgender?
A fucking idea.
So an identity?
It's a manifested idea.
Maybe how they appear. Well, you wouldn't know, right? Like let's just say that I'm trans, right? But I look just like this. How would you know? How would you know that I was trans?
I wouldn't, Jay.
You wouldn't. Exactly. And that's the point here. We're talking about how people identify and you deciding where somebody can shit based on how they identify. We're talking about it ends. You can identify however the fuck you want. That's where it ends. Okay. And if people think that it's silly, they're also allowed to think it's silly. And if you think it's icky, you're allowed to think it's icky. And if you think it's a sin, you're allowed to think it's a sin. All of those things nobody can take away from you. The one thing that we're saying is that you don't get to tell people where they can shit because of their identity. You can think whatever you want. You never have to accept a trans person as being trans. You don't. But what you do have to do is give them the same rights that you're granted.
So when a little girl goes to the school office and say that a young boy walked into the women's restroom and watched me go to the bathroom, that's
a crime.
Hold on,
that's a crime.
The office said
The identity
they couldn't
doesn't
do
matter.
anything for
No,
her.
the identity doesn't matter. If somebody is watching you go to the bathroom, that is a crime, regardless of your gender or yes, those are perverts, and your identity doesn't matter at that point, because just like when you were shitting in the park, that's a crime. You're trying to protect. You keep saying like, oh, trans people can't be in the bathrooms because they'll commit a crime. Well, the crime is illegal. That's already illegal.
How about we do this, Jay? How about we stop making people that want to think that they're different? How about we stop adjusting everyone else's standards for the people that think that they're different? They could be as fucking different as they want.
Why do we have to Why do we have to adjust our standards for your Christian beliefs? Why do we have to adjust our standards that there is only male and female? There's there's nothing scientific about that. It's a belief. It's an identity. Why do we have to capitulate to that? But you're like, stop making us do things that we don't want to do because of our belief system. Nobody's making you do anything, bud. Nobody. In fact, if you don't want to shit in a bathroom where a trans person can shit, don't shit in public bathrooms. Shit in your own bathroom. And then you can put a sign on your bathroom at your house that says, no transgender people are allowed in my bathroom. And that's fine. You have every right to do that. But if you don't want to shit where other people shit, don't shit where other people shit.
Well, that's a lot of shit. But what I'm saying is it's called social construction, Jay.
That's
and
what you're doing.
No, hold on. Let me finish. What you're trying to do is tear down the norms of the social constructed system that has been put in place.
Exactly the same way that people wanted to tear down the social norms of allowing you to own a black person. The same way that people wanted to tear down the social norms of segregation, of white and black drinking fountains and bathrooms. Okay. The same way that we wanted to tear down the social norms where women couldn't play sports. Yeah, historically, I'm on the right side of this and you're on the side of bigotry. Yes, we don't care what you believe. People are allowed to identify however they want. By the way, there is science to back up somebody being trans. There is no science to back up Sky Daddy. And yet, we allow people to identify as Christian all the time. You can identify as a Christian. You can say that your rights come from God when they clearly come from our Constitution. And we're like, that's cool. You can shit right next to me. You can have a seat next to me. If you want to pray before you take a shit, go ahead. You can even pray out loud before you take a shit in the bathroom. All of your made up shit is fine. But if somebody somebody is trans, suddenly that's a bridge too far. Look, every generation has had a group of bigots who were unwilling to move on and who, in hindsight, were exposed as bigots. That's you. 20 years from now, everybody will look back at the things you're saying and be like, how the fuck could people believe that? How the fuck could people say that like a trans person couldn't go to the bathroom? That's crazy. It's crazy in the exact same way that saying a black person can't share a restroom with you is crazy. It's just bigotry. You're just scared of people that are different than you. Please.
I have two questions for you. So first is, can a man get pregnant?
Yes.
And give birth?
Yes.
Okay. It's fucking weird.
Why? Why is that weird?
Because that's just absolute fucking lunacy.
Why? No, explain it. Help me understand why it's weird.
Biological men don't get pregnant and don't give birth to babies.
True. That's true.
Okay, good.
But a man, because you get to identify how you want, a man can give birth.
Yeah, and
so I answered. So it sounds like I answered your question accurately. Now, if you said if somebody was born with a penis and balls and they didn't have a uterus, didn't have a vagina, could that person give birth? I would say no. See, I'm not anti-scientific. I just accept that people can identify however they want. Now, I've got a question for you. Can a man walk on water?
Yes.
Okay, give me an example of a man walking on water.
He would have to be going really fast.
No, give me an example.
He would have to be very good on his feet.
On his feet. So in this scenario, there wouldn't be gravity. Or none of that would apply. The rules of buoyancy don't apply.
Well, I mean, if you're looking
see, Dale,
at
this is why people think you're
this is why
people think you're dishonest. Because here's the thing: nobody can walk on water. But if you believe that somebody walked on water, I welcome you to take a shit right next to me. You're welcome. You can even tell me about it. You can tell me about the time Jesus got out of the boat and walked on water. It'll be a nice story to have. Maybe it'll help my shit come out a little quicker.
So my last question for you is this: when you have your medical explanations, so if and when the doctors say that there's a medical explanation for 3 PDOs, are we going to accept them as well?
Yes.
And is that okay?
Yes.
And it's going to like prey on little children? And
No,
that's
a crime. That's not okay.
Okay, so
but
if somebody is
attracted to minors, they can also shit next to me. But if they act on that attraction towards minors, that is a crime.
So what you're saying is that they can be a 3 PDO, but they can't take pleasure in being a 3 PDO.
They cannot commit crimes. If they want to think about things in their own head, and they want to have those thoughts. Yep, they are free. They are absolutely free to have those thoughts. And just like you think trans people are icky, I think those people are icky. But until they act on those thoughts in a criminal manner, they have rights.
Right, but I think that the fact that you're accepting that idea,
I don't accept the idea. I accept that they have rights. And no, I accept that they have rights until they commit a crime.
Is this why the Democrats won't have sign a bill that will not support 3 PDOs when it comes to convictions?
What are you talking about?
You heard me, Jay.
No, I don't know. I heard you. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so you're not going to support a mandatory minimum on somebody who's going to be sexualizing children and because of this concept of it's okay.
Of course I am. So if they're in possession of CP, or if they abuse a child, or if they kidnap a child, if they make suggestive comments to a child, yeah, all of that, those laws already exist. Who's opposing those laws? Those laws already exist.
Yeah, but it's the same concept of transgenderism.
No, it's not. If a trans person abuses a child, a trans person will also go to jail. If a trans person shits in the park, they will also go to jail. If a trans person robs a bank, they will also go to jail. None of that has to do with them being trans.
Well, I think that the point that I'm making here is, who is the arbiter of the line?
The line of what?
The line of bullshit and the line of reality.
Well, there is no arbiter of the line of bullshit and reality. And if there was, we wouldn't have Christianity. It wouldn't be such a massive part of our country. You're allowed to believe and think whatever you want. Now, if you're saying who's the arbiter of the laws, that's Congress. Their job's to write the laws. And then you have the judiciary branch, whose job it is to determine if somebody has broken the law, and you have law enforcement who enforces the laws. And those laws apply to everybody, whether you are attracted to minors, whether you are a trans person, whether you're just a cisgender person like you and I. All the laws apply equally. But you want laws to be in place. You want protections so that somebody who you don't agree with can't take a shit next to you. There's no crime being committed there. It's not a crime to go in a public bathroom in your own stall and shit next to somebody else that is shitting. So you're trying to invent this new crime, and it's a thought crime. Now you want thoughts and beliefs to be illegal. Think of how dangerous a road that is. What happens when you guys lose power? What happens when you lose power? Are you going to be cool with it when we're like, no more Christians? If you believe in Jesus, you got to stay home to shit. You can't go in our bathrooms. What's the difference between me banning Christians from a public bathroom and you banning a trans person from a bathroom?
Well, I'm not looking to ban anyone from a bathroom. What I'm saying
and what
is
are you talking about?
Clear lines of reality need to be upheld.
No, thought. Wait, of thought?
No.
You want the government to... You want the government to... No, these are thoughts. What is reality? Wait, what is reality? If you're saying reality needs to be governed, we're talking about thoughts. And again, I'm going to immediately say, bye to Christianity. See you later. See you later, because that's not reality. There was no worldwide flood. The Earth's older than 3,000 years. Jesus didn't walk on water. Moses didn't get commandments from a burning bush. Job's wife didn't turn into a pillar of salt. Sorry, Christianity's gone. Literally everything that anybody thinks that they can't back up with science would be banned.
Hold on. Have I brought up religion one time, Jay?
I'm bringing up a religion to show how stupid what you're talking about is. Because you don't apply this across the board. You only apply it to things that you don't like. Well, then explain the difference.
So just because Timmy said he wanted to be a girl and everyone affirmed him and started calling him Tammy doesn't make it fucking true.
No, but it does mean that he could shit where he wants.
So that's number one. Number two is if we look at the
nobody's arguing that it makes something true. I don't care if you believe that that's true or not. The only thing I'm saying is you can't make laws based on something that you think is untrue. You can't start stripping away people's rights because of things that they think. That's a dangerous road. This is why we call you guys fascists. You want to outlaw thought.
No. That's called pre-crime.
This is a thought. You want to outlaw people's beliefs. You want to strip people of their rights because of what they believe.
Okay, well, when we look at the 432 pages of what the Biden administration turned Title IX into, the Supreme Court said this: you cannot make everyone special and then have some document to protect it, because the document...
The Supreme Court didn't say that. Now you're just making... The Supreme Court didn't say that. They didn't say that. No, that's a lie.
I'm doing an overview perspective of what...
That's an incorrect overview perspective, and I won't allow it. Objection. Objection. Sorry, brother. If you... Listen... If things aren't... And listen, because now you're saying things that aren't true, you can't shit in public bathrooms anymore, okay? Because I don't believe what you said is true. So you can't shit in public bathrooms anymore. Okay?
If I'm wrong,
I just want you to know. You got to shit at home from now on. No peeing in the public bathrooms either, because I don't believe what you're saying is true.
You know what I do, Jay? I go out back and take a piss and do whatever I want on my own ranch, and nobody bothers me.
Good. That's terrific. God bless America. Tracy said Trump made a suggestive comment to a 10-year-old girl on camera, and you're still voting for him. What's that about?
Okay, so that would be the same as Trump saying...
Well, shouldn't that be outlawed? Shouldn't that be outlawed? Shouldn't he be in jail for that?
Is Trump homosexual because he tells a man that he's good looking?
No, but that's not sexually suggestive.
It's the same fucking thing, bro.
No, it's not. Saying I will be dating her and saying you're handsome are two very different things. I tell my daughter she's beautiful every day. I do not want to date my daughter. But if I said something like, oh man, my daughter, she has the best legs and she's got a nice rack, because that's what Trump said about his daughter, then it would be creepy. But see how that's different. One is sexually suggestive, one isn't.
Yeah, that's pretty.
Sal wants you to know that he personally can't get pregnant, but he'd love to try it out with me. I want you to.
Wow, that's like a dig on me and a move on you all at the same time.
And Brian wants you to know that Colorado has had a law in the books for 30 years, allowing all genders to use any bathroom or locker room they want, and there has been no increase in crime. What do you think about that? 30 years that's been on the books and no increase in crime.
Like the unisex bathroom?
There's no restriction. Yeah. Anybody can go in.
Yeah. So if I go into a unisex bathroom, like here in the state of California, we have those. But typically, when they're like
no. They're saying in Colorado you can go into, like, you don't have to show your genitals before you go into a bathroom.
No cup check.
No cup check. I know. Is that what this is really about? Do you want a job grabbing people's genitals before they go in the bathroom? Is that what this is about?
You fucking caught me, Jay.
Toby wants to know if you've threatened Joe Biden's life on TikTok yet today.
No, actually not.
Not yet? All right, is that coming later?
Joe Biden, he's old news, He's just worried about the ice cream. Yeah, it's all good. I just think that...
Thanks, Josie, for the donation. And one more. Dale, quit using Christianity to hide your bigotry. That's from Tony.
I never brought up religion, just so you know.
I did.
I just want to make sure that everyone is safe.
Then you've got to cite a danger, because so far what you've said is that a trans person being in the same restroom as you is somehow unsafe. But that's what's unsafe about that.
Well, I think that I heard an argument about this the other day, and it's important to draw decisive distinctions on what is and what isn't.
I'm asking you what's unsafe, and I need you to answer. I need you to answer that question.
Yeah, we do that all the time.
I need you to answer the question I'm asking, and not just whatever you want. What makes it unsafe if a trans person is in the restroom with you?
I would think that person would be very unstable, potentially.
If you're unstable, can you go? If somebody's unstable, does that mean they can't use a public restroom? And who's going to be the arbiter of what unstable is?
But I think that it puts
wait, no.
people
So wait,
in,
other unstable people, and again, just assuming that what you're saying is correct, that you assume a trans person's unstable, and if you're going to apply that logic evenly, then you have to say anybody who's unstable can't use a public restroom. And now, how do we figure that out? How do we figure out who's unstable?
Well, like, there's a lot of unstable Democratic Karens out there that I take note of.
I think a lot of people would consider you fairly unstable.
Right. Okay. Let's take me, for example.
Okay.
Right.
So you got to stay home. No more public restrooms for you.
I do. I stay home a lot. Actually,
that's good.
And I'm blessed to be able to do that.
Okay, but you're not allowed to use public restrooms anymore because you're unstable.
Well, that's
we've ruled you unstable. And by the way, anybody who is a Trump supporter, any MAGA, I say that makes them unstable. So no MAGA in public restrooms either.
So Jay, we've really
MAGA. No MAGA. No. Wait, no MAGA. Because what we're doing here is we're just arbitrarily calling people unstable, and we're using our own definitions. So now I'm going to say no MAGA. No MAGA in bathrooms.
Okay.
Which, ironically, like statistically speaking, that would make bathrooms safer. If you got rid of MAGA, like the most likely person to abuse somebody in a public restroom is a white Christian conservative.
Could we just simply have like a third option, Jay?
No.
Why not?
Because I don't think it's necessary, and I don't think that we need to other people because you think they're icky.
So a man that thinks that he's a woman is socially acceptable because you say
I don't
so.
care about socially acceptable. That person deserves rights. If you don't think they're socially acceptable, that's on you. Don't invite them to your house. Don't invite them to your events. But they do deserve rights. The equal rights. That's kind of one of the things in America. Historically, we haven't been great about that, but mostly because of conservatives. Like, they didn't want women to have rights. They didn't want black people to have rights. They want immigrants to have rights. They don't want children to have rights. But luckily, there's been progressives in this country who advocate that everybody have equal rights.
Right, but here again, at some point in time, there has to be some point where it's too far.
Yeah, the point is when somebody breaks the law, and then that person is punished for the crime that they did. Otherwise, it's silly. Like, if we were going to apply this across the board, we would say that all white Christian conservative men cannot enter bathrooms and cannot be in public because they are a danger to society. Statistically speaking, they are far more a danger to society than any other group. So if we're going to play this game, I'm just showing you what happens when you play this game. What happens when you look at statistics? You're fucked, dude. You and I are in a lot of trouble. If we're going to now start taking the crimes of one person and applying it to a group, you and I are in a lot of trouble, dude. I think I maybe escape it a little bit because I'm not Christian anymore. So like one of those characteristics I don't have anymore, but I am white and I am a man. So I don't like this idea that I would be punished for the crimes of let's say, a sexual predator like Donald Trump. By the way, I got a couple more comments I got to read real quick. None of us are interested in a lecture on morality from grape apologists hoodie. That is from Amber, our friend who's E. Jean Carroll's niece, if you remember. You told her that her aunt was not an abuse victim. Jessica says transgender people use bathrooms. That's unsafe. Gun purchases without background checks. Safe. Oh,
Well,
one
I
more.
don't-
Serious note. If you're so concerned about sexual assault in public restrooms, why are cisgendered men committing SA in public restrooms at a higher rate than trans people? Why aren't you upset about that? If that's really what this is about.
I am upset.
Okay, then what
That
are you
would
doing?
upset me.
So why are you trying to get trans people out of bathrooms and not white men, white cisgender men? Because that's the danger, right? Like statistically, that's the danger.
But now keep in mind, my whole premise during this whole conversation is safety.
Yeah, and if the most unsafe people are white cisgender men, we better get those people out of bathrooms, right?
Well, look, I just.
Oh no, not that. Oh no. Oh, I'm
Jay,
about
if
safety.
you're-
But no,
hold on.
if you're gonna be honest, if this is about safety, we better start banning white cisgender hetero men from bathrooms because that's the real problem.
So let me ask you, Jay, if your daughter, right, goes to school and has an issue in a restroom, right?
What do you mean an issue in a restroom? Do you mean like a trans person going to the bathroom in the stall next to her, or somebody committing a crime?
Well, let's just keep it simple. It's
Okay.
the same scenario that I gave you before, but it's your daughter.
And somebody's watching my daughter go to the bathroom?
Correct.
That person should be charged with a crime, yeah, regardless of their gender.
What if you go to the school superintendent and he's like, "Hey, man, we really can't do anything about
I wouldn't
that.
go.
Sorry,
I
dude."
wouldn't go to the superintendent. I would go to the police because that's a crime.
Hmm.
Why are you going to the superintendent for a crime?
Well,
And if the
because-
superintendent says there's nothing they can do about it, that's probably because there's nothing they can do about it because they're not law enforcement.
Well, I think that it's really about policy.
No, it's not. It's about the law. It's about the law. See, the problem that you keep running into is you keep coming up with these scenarios that are already illegal. The scenario that you actually want to say, the scenario that would fit this is my daughter goes, let's just say I'm you, and my daughter goes into the bathroom and there's somebody there who was maybe presents as a male, identifies as a female, and I go and I'm like, hey, look, this is what happened. There was a person in the stall next to my daughter who was trans. And the principal goes, yeah, there's nothing I can do about that. Correct. There is nothing they can do about that because it's not against the law. But you keep adding crimes. In any scenario, if that person commits a crime, I'm going to the police. That already exists. It's bullshit protections that you're talking about. You're talking about protecting people, but what you really are saying is that you just don't think trans people should be there, and you can't come up with a good excuse.
Well, I just don't see the problem on giving the sex of women their own space. Like,
I don't care if
okay?
you don't see the problem. I don't
When
care.
did it become okay to take women's safe places away?
It's not making them unsafe. Statistically, it's not making them unsafe. This is a faulty argument.
Okay, so
You said take away their safe spaces. Their safe spaces aren't being taken away.
Hold on. So a
faulty
man
premise, bud.
feeling like he's a woman is more important than a woman's feelings of being safe.
Correct.
So her feelings are invalidated where his are validated.
Yeah, your identity is something that is protected. Your feelings about, like, same way, like if I was in a store and somebody was following, I thought they were following and I didn't feel safe, and I went to the police and they're like, what happened? I'm like, that person was following me. They're like, no, I wasn't. I was just going down the same aisles. And I'm like, no, they were following me. Arrest them. And the police would be like, yeah, we can't. They didn't commit a crime. Feeling unsafe is not something that you're protected from. There's no scenario in this country where feeling unsafe is something that you are protected from by law.
So why do we have men and women's restrooms in the first place, Jay?
What?
Then why do we have men and women's spaces?
We don't.
Already? We
don't
actually.
No, we have women in women's spaces. You just don't.
Yeah.
You just don't accept that that's their identity.
Have you historically?
Actually,
went to the
I've gone.
restroom?
I've actually multiple times. I used to have season tickets to the Suns, and multiple times I have in like preseason games. There used to not be anybody there, but sometimes it was filled, and I would use the women's restroom. I've done it multiple times. I did it I used to do it at my church too. Same deal. If one restroom was full, I just went into the other one. I don't care. I honestly don't care. If my restroom is full and I'm gonna shit, and my options are women's bathroom or my pants, I'm gonna choose women's bathroom. And guess what? Nobody got hurt. Everybody was fine.
I got you.
Yeah. You just don't like trans people, Dale. But I got to get to somebody else. I appreciate it. I mean, Hoodie. Sorry, I keep calling you Dale. I apologize for that.
That's okay.
Have a good one.
All right, have a good one.
Let me check comments, make sure I got them all. Brian says, why do weirdos care so much about things that have zero effect on their lives? Stop flattering yourselves. Yeah, that's what this ultimately is about. And that's why I don't mind the conversation. And I know they go on for a long time, but like the more you can get somebody to try and defend an indefensible position, I think the better. Because even somebody who thinks trans people are icky, like if you can get them to understand rights, then who cares, right? There's a lot of people that I find icky. They deserve rights. Toby says Hoodie would step over the dead children, gunned down in hallways just to get the trans kid out of the bathroom. Oof. I don't know. Maybe. Cody says, how does it work? If MTG, who has masculine features, is accused of using the wrong bathroom, who checks? Well, I think Hoodie wants to be the person who checks there. Ashley says, continued, I've been assaulted in a bathroom, and it was by two cis heterosexual men. Literally get bent, dickhead. Trans people aren't assaulting people. They are being assaulted. That's a good point. I should have brought that up. You're far more likely as a trans person to be assaulted than to assault somebody. That was continued with this. Bathrooms for trans people would be putting a target on their back and outing them in order to go to the bathroom. Hoodie is afraid he will be attracted to a trans woman, and he uses that to say he wants people to be safe. Yeah, I would probably agree with that. I think that's most men's fear about trans women, if they're being honest, is that they're afraid that they're accidentally going to be attracted to a trans person. I ask him if he thinks trans women are women, because that will draw out the real problem. I thought we kind of addressed that. Maybe not well enough. Phil says, seems like Dell believes biological males are prone to SAs. He still denies Trump's SA allegations, though, right? Good point, Phil. Excellent point. And last one from Rowan. Shut up, grape apologist. You don't care about women. Agreed. I agree with that. All right, let's see who's in the box. Guys, if you're not opposition, hop out of the box. Who do we have? Who haven't I talked to? We'll go here. Sam. All right, that's not loading. Ronald. Also not loading. J.A. Ja. No, not loading. I think a lot of these people went. Who did I talk to last? This is a tough one. I see Big Boat. You guys can choose Sober AF, Big Boat, or Sean Patrick. You guys choose. This is a tough one. This is a tough pick your medicine. Big Boat, Sean Patrick, or Sober AF. Oh, Jen accepted Sober AF. There we go. Jen made the decision for you. Welcome.
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey.
So, I mean, I popped in. You were talking to that guy about the transgender bathrooms.
Yeah,
I think that's a horrible topic.
I agree.
Bathroom issue.
I agree.
Ridiculous. Yeah, the only issue I see with it is the trans men in sport, or the trans. Wait, trans women playing women's sports. That's the only real issue I have with the whole thing.
Do you think, I agree with, I do think that that's a difficult problem to solve. Do you think we should just not try and solve it? Like, do you think the appropriate, like, do you think we should just ban trans people from playing sports, or do you think we should figure out a solution that works?
I don't think they should be banned from playing sports. Not
I agree.
at all.
I think we should have solutions that make sense and that work. So that if a trans person is in a sport and they for some reason have an unfair advantage, we can make rules and maybe that person be placed in a different division. We already do this in wrestling. We do it in fighting. We check testosterone levels across the board in virtually every sport. Like, we already have rules for this. So we've got to make a bunch of changes. But what I would love for my conservative friends to do is say exactly what you said. Like, let's come up with a solution rather than demonizing trans people, and rather than saying, like, here's a blanket ban. Let's figure out a way that it works for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, it's an issue that people get in their feels about a lot, and I would never judge somebody based off of like what they're going through. Like, I've been through a lot in my life, and what I've been through is kind of defines who I am. So I think that these people are actually strong people.
I agree.
And they probably have something to offer society, because that struggle can bring out a lot of strength.
I agree.
Now, I don't necessarily think that all conservatives, like I said, are sound-minded when it comes to this. A lot of them hide behind their religion, and they hide behind what they think is like decency type of deal. But I think that the solution is, it's like there's got to be a way that everybody can get on the same page and understand that these people are just going through something difficult, and they need support from everybody.
Well, yeah, and I think it starts with understanding that the thing that they're going through that is difficult is that there's a giant portion of society who believes they shouldn't exist, right? Like, that's the difficulty. And when people say, like, people love to bring up statistics about maybe a trans person needing more psychological help, or you look at the unaliving rates. Yeah, like, those are societal issues. As a society, we need to come together and accept that people are different than us, and that those people deserve rights, and they deserve the same respect that.
Sorry, I had a phone call.
No, you're good.
My bad.
You're good. I agree with you, but I just don't think that we're getting a lot of that from Republicans specifically, and I wish we could, because I do think it's a simple issue. I really think it's about, just like you said, it's about humanity. I don't think it's a real issue.
Yeah, like there's I think that most people can't even comprehend what they've gone through to make the decision to, or not even make a decision, just what they've gone through in their journey to where they are. And then everybody, it doesn't fit in their little box of what reality is, so I'm going to push it off to the side. And I think both sides do that. Like, people on the left, people that believe in God and that are Christian or that are religious, and they have these moral values that they hold to, that it doesn't fit inside the people on the left's little box of reality.
Yeah,
either.
but we're not trying to take away but we're not stripping their rights. We're not advocating that that Christians lose their rights. Like, again, if somebody wants to say that being trans isn't real, or if they think somebody who is trans is icky, they have every right to do that. I have a lot of Christian friends, and I try and be as transparent. Like, I think the beliefs are kind of silly, but I would never advocate that they lose rights. And we have this whole party right now claiming that they're losing rights, that their religion and their beliefs are under attack because we're saying, hey, the people you don't want to have rights deserve rights. And they're like, that's not fair because we believe they shouldn't have rights. That's the whole argument right now. If we can boil it down to one thing, conservatives don't want everybody to have equal rights. They want Christians, Christian conservatives specifically, to have the most amount of rights.
Yeah. I think it's that whole identity thing where if my group wins, then I'm okay with it. But if I feel like my group's getting, hurt, then I'm going to attack everyone else.
Yeah.
That mentality is toxic. But
I agree.
I'll jump off here, man. You
Appreciate it, man.
day.
Yeah, it was good talking to you.
Yep.
We'll see it. All right, there we go. Sober AF, I've actually debated. So I if anybody, some people are saying that's a friendly, like we've debated before. So I think we were on different pages before. Everybody else left the guest box. It's over. That was it. All right. Let me check comments one more time. Hi, everyone. I feel like when I get in debates, I don't get to talk to you. Debashish, sorry if I butchered that name. Debashish says, Jay, that was a masterclass how you handled hoodie. Thank you. I have a lot of experience with hoodie and hoodie adjacent people, so it gets easier and easier each time. Iron says there's been something in place. Trans folk have to be on HRT for a minimum of 2 years to play in these sports. I don't know. You'd have to tell me. I don't know if that's across the board or not. But I think that's a good start. Alicia says, tell them to stop speaking for women. I'm fine with sharing a restroom. Trans women are safer there. I would like rights to my uterus back. Fake outcry. Yeah. It is ironic to hear people talk about like my rights are being stolen while they're literally stealing rights from women. I think that was all of them. Let me make sure. Perfect. And we did hit the goal. You're welcome to send donations, but we did hit the goal for today. All right. How much time we have? About an hour. Guest box is empty. That was weird. The guest box was full. I thought for sure. There were some people that waited a long time only to leave. We can finish the Trump stuff. We can move on to Trump's town hall. I have some, actually, I want to move off of Trump for a minute, and I want to celebrate some of our DNC friends. Now it's Colin Allred had what's going on here? Colin Allred had a debate with Ted Cruz yesterday, and we maybe use the word masterclass too often, but this was an absolute beating of Ted Cruz. And this is one of those times when this debate will matter because people don't like Ted Cruz. Even the people voting for Ted Cruz don't like Ted Cruz. This was Ted Cruz talking about the exact thing we were just talking about. Ted Cruz had been talking about how we have to protect women in sports. And Colin Allred's comeback to Ted Cruz is mean, and I condone it. It's mean. He says he's not trying to be mean. He was. I condone every bit of this.
You have 60 seconds.
I mean, it's a lot. And I stand here as a proxy for millions of Texans who are sick and tired of this act. When Ted Cruz starts talking about team sports, you got to watch out because the only position he ever played was left out. I'm not trying to be mean, Senator. But just sit this one out, please. Listen, I don't.
You have 6.
If you missed it, the only position he ever played was left out. And I'm not trying to be mean, Senator, but you can't play sports for shit. Then he goes on. Obviously, we're going to talk about the fact that Ted Cruz's views on abortion are not only abhorrent, but they're also mostly lies. This is after Ted Cruz saying doing his thing. Look, I'm a conservative. I'm pro-life. I'm here for life. I only care about life. And this response here again from Allred. The great thing that Allred did was he was an active listener. I think it's something that is lost on most political debates. People that are running for office, and I think they get so stuck in what they prepared on, and that they want to make sure they hit this point and this point and this point, that I think that a lot of these politicians forget to actively listen, and they miss opportunities for memorable moments. And Allred didn't miss those opportunities. Allred was listening when Cruz spoke, and he was preparing. So after Cruz says he's pro-life, Allred hits him with this.
Trying to deceive the voters
I want
of
to jump in
Texas.
here because I think it's too important.
We'll give you 60 seconds.
I want to be very clear to the people of Texas. I support the protections and the restrictions under Roe. But Senator Cruz just called himself pro-life. You're not. You're not pro-life. It's not pro-life to deny women care so long that they can't have children anymore. It's not pro-life to force a victim of rape to carry their rapist's baby. It's not pro-life that our maternal mortality rate has skyrocketed up by 56%. That's not pro-life, Senator. So to every Texas woman at home, and to every Texas family watching this, understand that when Ted Cruz says he's pro-life, he doesn't mean yours.
Trying to deceive the voters.
Oof. I've heard in some of the spaces where abortion is debated more often, and DMs before from people saying basically that same thing, that these aren't pro-life people and we shouldn't give them that title. I agree with that. Remarkable job there. Now we have Ted Cruz just finishing up. Like, Ted Cruz goes off on this rant about Washington and how Washington doesn't have your best interest, but I'm Ted Cruz and I've got your best interest at heart. I'm Ted Cruz. And here's Allred. Sorry, I read a different message at the same time. Here's Allred's response to Ted Cruz saying Washington's not working for you.
You get 60 seconds, sir.
Sure. Well, I want to thank y'all for moderating. You did an excellent job. I want to thank Senator Cruz for a spirited debate. Listen, we're all Texans. My idol, John Lewis, used to say that we might have come here on different ships, but we're in the same boat now. We're all Americans, and we're all Texans. We need a leader who will bring us together around our shared values. That's what I've tried to do in my 6 years in Congress. That's the exact opposite of what Senator Cruz has done. Whatever he says tonight, you've seen it for 12 years. He's been one of the most divisive senators in the entire country. If you don't like how things are going in Washington right now, well, you know what? He is singularly responsible for it. He has introduced this new kind of angertainment where you just get people upset and then you podcast about it and you write a book about it and you make some money on it. But you're not actually there when people need you, like when the lights went out. When 30 million Texans were relying on a senator to spring into action, he went to Cancun. That's who he is. If you give me the chance to be your United States Senator, I'll never abandon you. And I'm asking for your vote and for your support in this election.
So good. So good. And by the way, has Ted Cruz ever apologized for that? Absolutely not. Somebody eat my shorts. Sorry. I don't know if you're Alex. I'm sorry. Somebody said they sent a Cash App and it wasn't read. There is one I forgot to read from Alex. It says Trump has Dunlap disease. Look it up. I'll have to look that up later. But I don't see any other ones I missed. So hopefully that who that was, whoever sent that was Alex. And I apologize if not. I don't see a different one that I haven't read. So hopefully that was you. It was? Okay, thank you. And sorry about that. I actually read it during the debate and I was going to start Googling what it was and then I forgot. So that's 100% on me. I did read it, just forgot to read it out loud. All right. Now here's, I think this stuff's effective, by the way. Remember that part of what the Democrats need in order to win elections, especially in like purple states, is they need to go get those people who know that Donald Trump tried to overturn the election and those that like that's a breaking point for them. Here, Allred does a remarkable job drawing the line between him, sane people, and then Ted Cruz.
Suit jacket, and I was prepared to defend the House floor from the mob. At the same time, after he'd gone around the country lying about the election, after he'd been the architect of the attempt to overthrow that election, when that mob came, Senator Cruz was hiding in a supply closet. And that's okay. I don't want him to get hurt by the mob. I really don't. This election is his accountability. You cannot just be patriotic when your side wins. If for the first time in 250 years...
By the way, Ted Cruz has a tell. When you land something on Ted Cruz that's true and he doesn't like it, here's the tell. Watch if you can see it.
When that mob came, Senator Cruz was hiding in a supply closet. And that's okay. I don't want him to get hurt by the mob. I really don't.
He laughs.
This election is his accountability. You cannot just be patriotic when your side wins. If for the first time in 250 years, this project of ours, this shared American project, and we did not have a peaceful transfer of power, the folks responsible have to be held accountable. That's why Liz Cheney has endorsed me, has got involved in this campaign, and is saying to Texans everywhere, do not put Ted Cruz back in a position of authority, because he's done it once, he'll do it again.
It's Texas is being held hostage by Ted Cruz. Like I said, Republicans don't like Ted Cruz. He tricked him into office, and they just like won't vote for a Democrat. So they just keep this loser in. Megan says Ted Cruz is good at one sport, running to Cancun. Yeah, listen, let's be honest. He was speed walking in his Skechers. There was no running. Did I get this one? There we go. All right, moving on. I think I had one more. Yeah, is this the one? Yeah. This line's incredible. I don't know if these are off the cuff. They don't seem very scripted. But this is Allred doing a really good job of explaining what Ted Cruz does. Kind of remember when Andy Biggs, VP Harris was down here at the border, and Andy Biggs like tweeted, he's like, "This is nothing but a publicity stunt. I'll be at the border too." And it's like, wait a minute, you don't work on the border. Your district's not. You're doing you're like, this is a publicity stunt when they do it, but not when I do. And Allred does a great job, not only calling out the publicity stunt, but like those types of words, we hear it all the time. And when people hear publicity stunt, they tune out. What Allred did a good job of is like explaining what these publicity stunts were in a way that resonates with voters and will stick with voters. He landed so many lines that are going to be repeated in debates. They're going to be repeated by members of families that are debating with each other. They're going to be shared in Facebook posts and Twitter. Like, this was an absolute masterclass in debating. It's one of the best candidate debates I've seen, or performances. Maybe not the debate itself, but the performance by Allred was incredible. This person should win by 100% of the vote. Nobody should be voting for Ted Cruz. Nobody. He represents no interest, and Allred is probably going to lose, but he sure as shit shouldn't.
For the question, this is personal for me. My family's from Brownsville. My grandfather was a customs officer there. He joined the Customs Department in 1939. That's where my mom and my aunt were born and raised, and where I spent a lot of my childhood. And I know that our border communities are real places where folks are trying to raise their families and get ahead. But time and again, Senator Cruz treats our border communities like he's going on some kind of a safari. He comes down, he puts on his outdoor clothes, he tries to look tough, and he goes back to Washington and does nothing to help. In fact, he does worse than nothing. One of the toughest border security.
That's so good. He puts on his outdoor clothes, puts on his costume, his outdoor clothes, puts on his boots that are brand spanking new. Somebody should do this to Ron DeSantis too, and then tries to act tough. That's exactly what Ted Cruz does. Ted Cruz, by the way, Ted Cruz in 2016 was like, Donald Trump is so divisive. He says mean things, and we need a calm rhetoric. And oh my God, Donald Trump is such a terrible person. We can't possibly elect somebody who does these things. And then he gets his ass kicked, and then he's like, "Fuck, I'm just gonna try and be Donald Trump with a beard." And then he just changed his whole personality, but it comes off as phony. And that line it just had me cracking up. I paused it. I watched it like 3 times. That's such. I don't know if I can remember a better line in a debate in a long time. They're just they're so subtle. They stick. They're not inflammatory. They're just true. And everybody, including Ted Cruz, knows it's true. That's why it lands. Because Ted Cruz knows he didn't do anything. And Ted Cruz knows that his staff was like, "Hey, when you go to the border, put on like some blue collar stuff. It'll look better." And he's like, "Okay, you got it." He knows it's true.
And does nothing to help. In fact, he does worse than nothing. When the toughest border security bill in a generation came up in the United States Senate, $20 billion for border security, he said, "We don't need a border bill." That's what he said. And
laugh in the head shake.
This is a pattern for him. He's never there for us when we need him. When the lights went out in the energy capital of the world, he went to Cancun. On January 6th, when a mob was storming the Capitol, he was hiding in a supply closet. And when the toughest border security bill in a generation came up in the United States Senate, he took it down. We don't have to have a senator like this. Let me be very clear. I believe in physical barriers as part of a comprehensive strategy to secure the border. We had a bill for $20 billion for 1,000 new Border Patrol agents, for more immigration judges, more asylum officers to help us deal with the backlog. I wanted to make sure we passed that. When I'm in the Senate, we will. And we'll also fix our broken legal immigration system. Senator Cruz has had forever, and he's done nothing to solve this problem. Why would we believe that he will with 6 more years?
12 years, hasn't done shit. Everything that Allred said there is true, and Ted Cruz can shake his head all he wants, but all of that stuff is true. Jen said maybe Cruz has an ear infection. My dog shakes his head like that when he has one. That's a good point. If he starts scratching his ears. Lisa says, breaking news, Trump's administration provided gender-affirming care for United States prisoners in 2018. I'm not sure what you're referencing. I would assume that that was just something that was allowed. I'm not sure the exact thing you're referencing there, but I have no reason to doubt that that is 100% true. All right. Another debate that was pretty uneventful was in Pennsylvania, where you have Dave McCormick and help me with his name. Son of a bitch. Somebody help me with the name. Not who's the Democrat? Not McCormick. Somebody please help me before I have to look it up. I know you guys got this. Bob Casey. Thank you guys so much. McCormick is the guy over on the right, and McCormick doesn't live in Pennsylvania. He lives in Florida. He bought a house in Pennsylvania, and he registered himself to vote and to run for office there, and then they tore down the house. And there is not a new structure there in place yet that's livable or has been approved. I think it's still under construction. This is a person who came back to Pennsylvania because basically MAGA's like, hey, go to Pennsylvania, you can win this. Do I think Allred's going to lose? Yeah, but polling says he's going to lose. Maybe I don't know what the ground game's like in Texas. I haven't looked at like voter registrations. I know that they were outpacing Republicans. It'll be closer than we expect, but I would imagine that he loses in a very close race. Anyway, so here's Bob Casey and Dave McCormick, and McCormick absolutely butchers this answer when asked about his opposition to protecting abortion rights nationwide.
A woman in Ohio, is she any different from a woman in Pennsylvania, leaving it to the states?
Yeah, well, I think when you say states, you mean people. So people.
No, we mean states. This is like that debate we had yesterday when they're like, well, when Trump says countries, he really means companies. No, states are state. The people aren't voting all the time. Like a lot of states, there wasn't the people didn't vote. It was representative. We're talking about states.
A woman in Ohio, is she any different from a woman in Pennsylvania, leaving it to the states?
Yeah, well, I think when you say states, you mean people. So people get to decide. People get to elect officials that represent their views. So you can't have it both ways. You can't say that we want to have it to be a state's rights, and then when the state does something you don't like, it's not your personal beliefs. So I do.
Yes, you can. You can say that we think there should be national protections. We can say that. States can't choose to just take away your rights. I don't know if we have a lot of history buffs here. There was a time in the mid 1800s when we had a dispute about states' rights and what states could and could not do when it came to rights. Yeah, states shouldn't be able to do that.
I think the people should decide, and that's what's happened in Pennsylvania. I think that Pennsylvania's got a law that people believe in, support, and I support that as well.
Mr. McCormick.
Yeah, non-answer, completely flubs it. But again, like this has been a saving grace, honestly. The fact that they came up with this argument that states have that right to decide and the Supreme Court ruled it, we'll see. It's given the Republicans a way out of the conversation. We'll see if voter turnout is significant. I do think that this has both fired up the people who believe that it should be a protected right, but it's also given people like McCormick an out to be like, hey, you know, like I don't need to have an opinion on this. The state will decide, and what they decide is what they decide, right? 300,000 for first day early voting in Georgia. Yeah, that's an insane number. I saw that. And then I wanted to show this because I think it's incredible. I am not a fan of Destiny. If any of you guys watch online debate spaces, I think Destiny is really, really intelligent. And in fact, lately I've liked him a lot more. Not a huge fan, but he debated Owen Shroyer. Owen Shroyer is Alex Jones's lapdog. He worked for InfoWars, which doesn't exist anymore. Now he's trying to create his own identity. And Destiny debated him. I don't. This wasn't fair. It did at some point. It felt unfair. Now Owen Shroyer. This is how bad the debate went for Owen Shroyer on his social media. He is showing the same clip. He's saying, "I won the debate because of this." At the start of the debate, he went to shake hands with Destiny, and Destiny said no. I don't know why. I don't know if Destiny has a problem with him. I don't know if Destiny doesn't shake hands, if he's got a germ thing. I don't know if it was a disrespect thing. Whatever it was, they didn't shake hands, and it was definitely because Destiny didn't want to shake his hand. But that doesn't mean you won the debate. And if you are saying that's why you won the debate, you probably lost the debate. And this is why. I've got 2 examples of Destiny pointing out something to Owen Shroyer, and Owen Shroyer, knowing the truth, refuses to acknowledge it. And that's what we have a problem with conservatives right now. Stuff that's true, you won't acknowledge. You won't admit that it's not true. That's why debating you guys is sometimes frustrating, because we'll say stuff that you know is true, and you won't admit it because you know that fucks up your talking point. Here's an example.
First of all, what cities are so expensive to live in? Democrat-run cities.
So when those cities are expensive, do you acknowledge that those cities produce more economic output for the country than all the red cities? This is what I mean when I say these people don't live in reality. But like, why can't you acknowledge that?
It's a nice deflection. So Democrat cities are the most expensive to live in. So I'm glad you at least acknowledge that. And again,
More expensive to live in the U.S. than Uganda as well, right? It is, right?
We live in a constitutional republic. We don't live in a
See where he's getting there? Like, it's more expensive to live in the United States than Uganda, right? Yeah, because that logic doesn't, and this is what Destiny did so well, is he's really good off the cuff of giving somebody a story that obviously they would agree with. Now, is America more expensive to live in than Uganda because America is a more poorly run country? Well, Shroyer can't say that. He can't say Uganda's a better run country. So if that was your line of logic, is that Democrat cities are more expensive to live in because Democrats don't know what they're doing, then Destiny's like, well, do you want to talk about the fact that they are more productive, that there's more economic output? And he's like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. And then just comes back with, yeah, so you admitted I was right? No, I didn't admit that you're right. He was so quick with this.
It is, right?
We live in a...
I also want to point out one more thing. Here's one thing I respect about Destiny. And one thing that I think we can learn from Destiny. He's one of the best debaters political debaters in the world. There's no question about that. It would be in anybody's probably top 5. He's a YouTube streamer. He's massive on YouTube, millions of followers. He's probably the biggest political left-wing YouTube creator, I think. I don't know if anybody's bigger than him. Is there anybody bigger than Destiny? Glazing Destiny. I know. I don't... Listen, Destiny has bothered me in a lot of ways. Like, there's some stuff Destiny says that I don't agree with. So I don't like glazing him just as much as you might not. Oh yeah, Hassan's bigger than him. That's right. Hassan's, I think, bigger than him. That's right. But Hassan's not really a debater either. Like, he will debate, but Hassan is more of a streamer than a debater. Destiny does a ton of debates. He's debating every day. He's on Twitter all the time, and Destiny goes anywhere. I really respect that about him. Anyways, let's keep going here.
In a constitutional republic, we don't live in a democracy.
What is the contradiction there? What do you think? Hold on. What is a republic and what is a democracy?
A democracy is where a bunch of lunatics like you can vote away my rights.
Is that Article 5 or Article 6? I don't know what part of the So a democracy is when multiple people vote. A republic is when you have representatives that do things for you. We are a representative democracy. That's why we're a constitutional republic. We are both a republic, which just means you're not a monarchy, and a democracy. This idea that we must be a republic because I'm a Republican and we're not a democracy because you're a Democrat is... Come on.
Sure, I had nothing for that. By the way, I'm glad they clipped out the words because he did drop the R slur there. That's one of the other issues with Destiny is he has this attitude of like, fuck you, you can't control my speech, but then he turns some people off. All right. And then this next clip, there was one more. Now Destiny is going to press Shroyer on the thing that no Republican will ask. He's going to ask him about January 6th. And Republicans refuse to be honest about January 6th. Now, they love to say, like, it wasn't an insurrection, and he's going to say that. But just watch him press. And watch how Owen Shroyer and all Republicans, when pressed to tell the truth, because they know what the truth means, they just run from it.
Do what?
Did Donald Trump leave the White House?
After a failed insurrection, yes.
A failed insurrection. Who ran the insurrection?
Donald Trump and the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers and everybody that broke into the Capitol and delayed the certification of the vote.
For any Republicans here, I want you to just notice the difference. Destiny answers every question. Everyone. And if you're a debater, answer the questions. If you're a confident debater, you don't have to run from questions. Answer the questions.
Really believe that?
Was the vote certification delayed?
What is an insurrection?
Wait. Was the vote
Was
the vote certification delayed on January 6th?
No, it went through. They certified. Did Trump?
Hold on. I'm so sorry. I don't know who you're answering right now. Was the vote certification delayed? Was Congress called out of session on January 6th?
Yes, I think for a couple hours.
For several hours.
So by the end of the day,
why were they called out of session?
So by the end of the day,
you see how we can't live in reality? You see how this doesn't work? The country doesn't function when you have people
if you want
that
to go
refuse
back
to
and call
accept.
this an insurrection,
The craziest thing is it's all on video. We've seen all of this.
So
None of this is a mystery.
Tell me what an insurrection is. Just define it for me.
I don't have to define it for you. I'm just asking simple questions. On January 6th, there was a certification of the vote. That vote was disrupted by violence. If you want to get into what an insurrection is, you could say that it was a crowd of people that had gathered with a common purpose to use.
He's looking to Jesus right there. Do you see Shroyer? This face right here. Let's see if I can get a freeze frame of it. That face. Fuck. I thought I got away with not answering that question. And now here he is asking me the same question. Every debate we had last night with Jeffrey ended with the Republican doing this exact thing. Please answer the question. I don't want to. I'll try and avoid it. The one thing Republicans hate more than anything is answering questions.
Crowd of people that had gathered with a common purpose to use the means of violence or intimidation to disrupt an official federal proceeding, such as the certification of the 2020 vote, the outcome of that election, which is why it would probably qualify as an insurrection.
Okay. How many guns were at this insurrection?
You don't need a gun for an insurrection.
Zero.
Zero? Wait, the cops didn't have any guns?
Oh, the cops had a
Also, there weren't zero. There was a person who fired a gun into the air. We have that on video too. There were a few weapons that were found. We also know that people tried to bring in weapons to Donald Trump's rally, and we know now that there were caches of weapons all around D.C. For the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers to go be able to quickly access those weapons if they needed to. So Destiny's wrong there. Not wrong. Maybe he didn't know. There were. But his point that you don't need weapons for an insurrection is absolutely true. If that's not true, explain to me how they got in. If you don't need weapons to break in, how'd you break in without weapons? And Destiny will explain that. It's a good answer here.
This insurrection.
You don't need a gun for an insurrection.
Zero.
Zero? Wait, the cops didn't have any guns?
Oh, the cops had a gun. That's right. They killed an innocent person.
So what you just said was just wrong.
That's right. They killed an innocent person.
With a slingshot? What do you mean there were zero guns at the insurrection?
So, okay, so the government had the guns. So that's good. So that's what happens when only the government has the guns.
Just to be clear here, none of the people on the grounds of the Capitol had any firearms on them?
No, not a single one.
Really? Not even though the Secret Service said 80% of the people that were at the Ellipse just an hour earlier listening to Trump's speech didn't go through the magnometers because they saw people in the crowd that had firearms they didn't want to go through that all marched to the Capitol building. What, did they drop their gun off at a hotel? Did they give it to a friendly police officer? Did they find a fellow DC BLM guy to hold onto their rifles?
Not a single gun was ever recovered or on record at the January 6th insurrection.
Oh, recovered.
All right. Well, yeah, he did say ellipse. Let's look it up. Let's see. I believe there is we'll be able to find it probably pretty easily, but I think there's a video of a gun being fired on January 6th. Let's see if I can find it. Here you go.
Now to breaking news. We're just learning a West Suburban man has been arrested for taking part in the January 6th Capitol riots.
He's accused of firing a gun outside the U.S.
That's the scaffolding right there. That is the scaffolding. And in his hand, that is a pistol. And there is smoke emitting from that pistol.
U.S. Capitol building. Take a look at these photos from the U.S. Attorney's Office. Investigators say the man climbing scaffolding and waving a gun there is 39-year-old John Banuelos of Summit. Prosecutors say Banuelos fired twice into the air during the 2021 insurrection.
Twice.
He's also accused of threatening police and raising his shirt to reveal a gun in his waistband. The FBI arrested Banuelos today on a number of felony charges.
Whoopsies. We'll get back to that.
And what type of an insurrection?
How many pipe bombs were found
what type of
That's a good point. Pipe bombs too, right? Anyways, if you want to watch this whole debate, I highly recommend it. Destiny absolutely destroyed Shroyer, and just factually, whatever even if you're on Shroyer's side there, like absolutely, that's what happened. He had no answers for anything Destiny asked. Wasn't Shroyer at January 6th? Didn't he get arrested? He went to prison, right? InfoWars host, here we go. InfoHost Wars, Owen Shroyer gets 2 months in prison in Capitol insurrection case. Sentenced on Tuesday to 2 months behind bars for joining the mob's riot at the U.S. Capitol, which prosecutors said he helped create. I remember Shroyer, basically, Alex Jones wouldn't help him with his legal bills. There's this really awkward moment where Shroyer is sitting next to multimillionaire Alex Jones talking about how he doesn't have money for his legal bills. And Jones is like, oh, man, there's just not any money. You guys got to give this guy some money. But yeah, he got arrested too. You should invite Mega Granny to your show for a little powwow with her. She's not Megan no more. Mega Granny? It was Mega Granny who I talked to last night. Wasn't there some insane person I talked to last night? Was it Mega Granny? Savannah says, unfortunately, there's Trump signs everywhere in PA. Yeah. Look, I think you're more likely, honestly, to see Trump signs than, but like, I don't have a single friend who's voting Harris that has a Harris sign. Not one. I don't care about a sign either. I don't think signs are really indicative of anything other than people's devotion to that candidate. I don't think it gets anything done. Juan says, has anybody checked on Ted Cruz's dog Snowflake, the one that he left to freeze to death when he fled to Cancun? Fuck Ted Cruz. I agree with that. Yeah, who did check on that dog? Luckily, Ted Cruz had to come back. He got caught. Chris says, what did one saggy breast say to the other? If we don't get help soon, this will be nuts. I feel like I've heard that joke before, but it hit me in the funnies. I like that one. I like that one a lot. All right, what else do we have? What, 12:35? Nobody in the box. All right. What have I not covered yet? That might be damn near anything. All right, let's do this. I'm going to just show you some of the highlights. We'll end it on a positive note here. Kamala went to Detroit, where she did an event with Charlemagne the God. Does anybody know why CNN was showing this graphic? Like, why we didn't have video from CNN? Like, why we had to stare at this screen the whole time? Does anybody know what happened there? I was trying to figure out, because there is video. I have some clips of video, but for some reason, this is what we saw on CNN. Anyways, this is Kamala Harris just saying, I'll just play it because it's pretty self-explanatory. MSNBC, it was copyright. Are you saying like Breakfast Club put up copyright restrictions? It's weird. Okay.
And again, here's Charlemagne. One of the things that I think is really
that's iHeartRadio. They that's right. iHeartRadio owns that show, I believe, or at least the distribution. That's probably why. I'm guessing it's because of iHeartRadio.
And again, here's Charlemagne. One of the things that I think is really ironic, but at play. Donald Trump, through his way of trying to name call and demean and divide, tries to project as though those things are a sign of strength, when in fact the man is really quite weak. He's weak.
He's going to hate that.
It's a sign of weakness that you want to please dictators and seek their flattery and favor. It's a sign of weakness that you would demean America's military and America's service members. It's a sign of weakness that you don't have the courage to stand up for the Constitution of the United States and the principles upon which it stands. This man is weak and he is unfit.
Look, if you're gonna go down into the mud with Trump and you're gonna get into you're gonna call him weak, do it with substance like that. Explain what you mean by that. Explain that you meant he bows down to dictators. Show how he only goes after people below him. I thought perfect job there. This was her best moment. This, in my opinion, is her best moment of the campaign. not necessarily because of the messaging, but because of the confidence. And it makes me feel, and this is a clip from Breakfast Club, but what I like about this clip is it shows a version of Kamala that we've seen over the last like couple weeks, where she's really come into her own. She's confident in what she's saying. There's not question marks. She's not trying to say the right thing. She believes it. She believes it. She feels it. It's like, it's very real. It's very visceral to her. So sometimes the criticisms people give aren't real criticisms, or they might be strengths. And this was honest for me. Just as somebody who, like, I'm already voting for her, but like this solidified to me, this is somebody really, really ready to lead. This type of confidence is based on years of service, but also understanding the differences between the two campaigns and understanding who she is. This was an incredible moment.
How are you? Because you did just walk in. You was kind of late, so.
Well, I try to be on time.
Well,
apparently I'm 40 seconds late. You're right.
Well, you are black, so okay. Now, now one thing they've been saying, a lot of your press hits get criticized. Folks say you come off as very scripted. They say you like to stick to your talking points, and some media says you have.
That would be called discipline.
Ooh, okay. Speak to that.
But go on.
No, I was going to say, some people say you have an inability to fearlessly say who you are and what you believe. I know that's not true. But what do you say to that criticism? And is it fair for SNL to make fun of it?
Hasn't my...
Now, this is fucking unbelievable. Imagine this question to Trump. Now, his first part of that answer might have been similar. When people say, you sound scripted, he'd be like, I'm not scripted. I'm not scripted. I don't have a teleprompter. I'm not scripted. I don't say the same things. And then they'd say, is it fair that SNL makes fun of you? And he'd be like, no, it's not fair. Everybody's against me. The media is biased. By the way, yeah, good point. First question. For somebody saying this is friendly, like that's a first question right out of the box. But just think of what Trump's answer would have been to that. And now listen to this question. When asked, like, do you think it's fair that SNL makes fun of you?
Say who you are and what you believe. I know that's not true. But what do you say to that criticism? And is it fair for SNL to make fun of it?
Hasn't Maya Rudolph been wonderful?
Yes.
I think I have nothing but admiration for the comedy, and I think it's important to be able to laugh at yourself and each other.
But what do you say to people who say
in the spirit of obviously comedy and
Yes.
not belittling people as my opponent would do?
But what do you say about the people that are making fun of you on SNL? I fucking love it. I watch it. It's incredible. The person that's making fun of me, hasn't she been incredible? Have you ever heard Donald Trump say a nice thing about somebody who he viewed as making fun of him? Like this in these moments, you see like the inner character of somebody, and you see the inner strength, and you see the confidence. It takes a confident person to say, what about these people making fun of you? And you're like, yeah, I loved it. I laughed at it too. I thought it was funny. I thought it was really funny. This is what I'm saying. Like she's come into her own. I think there were nerves at the beginning, and rightfully so. But like, I do think we're seeing the real Kamala. And these moments, these are impactful for undecided voters. They really are.
But what do you say to people who say you stay on the talking points?
I would say you're welcome.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, listen, here's the thing. I love having conversations, which is why I'm so happy to be with you this afternoon. And the reality is that there are certain things that must be repeated to ensure that I have everyone know what I stand for and the issues that I think are at stake in this election.
Mm-hmm.
And so it requires repetition. You know, some people say that until someone has heard the same thing at least 3 times, it just doesn't stay with you. So repetition is important. And for that reason, yes, at my rallies, I say the same thing when I go to Detroit as I do in Philly, as I do wherever I am, to make sure that people hear and receive what I think are some of the most critical issues that are at stake in this election.
There has to be a high level of anxiety, too, when you have these conversations, though, because you are running for president.
I mean, you know what? There's certainly a lot of, I feel the weight of the moment and my role. I feel an extraordinary weight of responsibility right now to do everything I can. I'm telling you, Charlemagne, when I go to bed at night, I almost every night, in addition to my prayers, will ask, have I done everything I could do today? This is a margin of error race. It's tight. I'm going to win. I'm going to win.
but it's tight.
You know how good you have to be to shut me up? You know how good you have to be for me to shut up for 2 minutes and 26 seconds? When's the last time you guys saw me be quiet for 2 minutes and 26 seconds? She's fucking incredible at this. And she's incredible at this because like she's being her. She's own and people come after her all the time and say, you're phony. She's like, yeah, I do say the same thing all the time. Yeah, I do. Because I know that people need repetition. Not everybody's going to hear every rally. So if I do 50 rallies, somebody might hear 3 of them. They need to hear those things 3 times before it resonates. That's why I'm doing this. That's part of this. Yeah. And by the way, one of the things that I think is underrated is somebody's ability to say the same things over and over and make it to that audience feel like it's the first time. That's really important. You go watch Donald Trump once he hits that teleprompter. America is a country in decline. Pennsylvanians, Azerasians are doing bad. You know, like he doesn't have that energy anymore. Like I've seen her rallies. She gives that same energy every time. She recognizes that this is what she has to do. And that would drive me nuts. I would hate to say the same shit every single day. And it would be difficult to deliver that message in a powerful way every single day. But she shows up every day and she does it. And then you see these glimpses behind the scenes where when asked about it, it doesn't bother her that you asked her about it. She didn't feel like she was being attacked because she was asked like, hey, this is the criticism of you. And you do say the same things all the time. What do you say about that? Wasn't an attack. She's like, let me explain this to you. For those who are uninitiated, let me explain how politics work. Sully says, a husband says to his wife, why don't you tell me when you orgasm? She replies, I don't like calling you when you're at work. Oh, that would be devastating. Sal says, I've got something that'll shut you up for longer than 2 minutes. Back to back there. All right. Yeah, I thought this was a good line. Remember when Donald Trump was in Michigan the other day, and he basically said that Detroit is like a third world city and it's in complete shambles. I thought this was a great message to the people of Detroit. If Kamala Harris is going to win these swing states, she's going to win Pennsylvania. She needs Philadelphia. She needs Pittsburgh and in Michigan. She's going to need Detroit, and she's going to need those people to know that what her policies are, and she's going to need them to be excited. And in order for her to accomplish that, she needs them to feel like she's on their side and she's got their back. And that's what she did incredibly well here. And by the way, again, this messaging that she's giving today, this isn't the swing voter messaging. This isn't the Liz Cheney messaging. This is my base. I'm talking now to big blue cities. I'm talking about blue dots in states. I'm talking about blue areas. I'm talking about the people who I'm supposed to have your back. Now let me explain how I'm going to also have the backs of my base.
Eric, real quick, we only got a few minutes.
Only got a few minutes. Thank you, Madam Vice President, for having me. Thank you, Charlamagne the God. So as a employee of a mission-driven nonprofit bank, I appreciate the efforts in that bank. I work with Invest Detroit. But as chief storyteller of the city of Detroit, I spend a lot of time dispelling information about the city of Detroit. Yeah. And so I'm sure for those of us who are like me, if Donald Trump doesn't like Detroit so much, he's not welcome back. Now,
but okay, I don't want to interrupt you.
I
don't know if everybody knows what you're talking about. Okay, go on.
You can get into it. I just wanted to say that we know that there's been a lot of conversation about growing the middle class, but black men have been taken out of the workforce for a myriad of systemic reasons, from mass incarceration to racial bias, fear-mongering. But we know that black men are not criminals. They are criminalized, and that has taken black men out of the home, has taken wealth out of the home. And so especially in a city with such high poverty, I've heard a lot about middle class, but I would love to hear more about stair-stepping from poverty into middle class so they can take advantage of the opportunities and the policies you're talking about.
That's right, and that's real. So, for example, the child tax credit. When we did it, when I first became vice president, we cut black child poverty by half. And you know, when you deal with poverty for a child, that's a crazy number.
child poverty cut in half. Now there's obviously if it's in half, there's work to be done, but that's a massively successful piece of legislation.
That's about the whole family, right? When you look at the work that we have done that has been about dealing with prescription medication for our seniors, Black people are 60% more likely to get diagnosed with diabetes. And when you look at what people are in terms of on the verge of bankruptcy because of medical bills and medical debt, that's very real. So us capping the cost of something like insulin and prescription medication, not to mention the work that I've been doing to ensure that medical debt does not get included on your credit score, because medical debt comes about because of a medical emergency. Nobody invites it upon themselves. And back to the point about history and the reality of life, we also know the real disparities around access to meaningful health care, which are more likely to result in people facing chronic illness and in medical emergency. So my work has been and included working to get medical debt not be on your credit score, so that thing you did not invite upon yourself would not be the reason that you can't get a lease on an apartment or anything else. We have to deal.
By the way, you know how sometimes they're like, this is a Trojan horse. And we're like, no, it's not a Trojan horse. This is a Trojan horse. If you take medical debt and it doesn't go on your credit report, then the Republicans are going to have to figure out a way, because these places that are providing medical care are like, well, now there's no mechanism to collect on this because people might not pay their medical debt if it doesn't go on their credit report. Cool. So what's the solution to that? Universal health care. This is the Trojan horse. Don't tell anybody, but that's what this is. Republicans, you didn't hear any of this. This is the Trojan horse.
Deal with child poverty. We have to deal with poverty, period. And there are many specific ways to do it, including dealing with getting resources into the community that alleviate the burdens that hold people down. And but back to Detroit. Can you imagine? You go to a city and you say you want the votes of those people, and then you disparage the city.
Damn.
And that's what he did in Detroit. And he has a tendency to mention cities that either have a historically Black majority population or.
That's the end of that clip. Some people said my Soros check. That's true. My Soros check is going to be cut. I wasn't supposed to release it till next week, but I've got impulse control problems. Okay, that's part of ADHD. Sorry. And somebody else said, "Why are you telling them now? They're going to know." No, they don't. They don't know. They still don't really understand what I said, so it's fine. One more clip here. All right. And then here, we'll close this meeting off with Kamala Harris just explaining the wins of the Biden administration. I highly recommend sharing these clips. If you're not a member of our Discord, it's free. You can send me or any of our moderators a message. Just say I'd like an invite to the Discord. We'll get it to you. Moderators, if you're here, if you'll just put your hand up, look in the comments. There are a lot of new people here. Some of you probably seeing me for the first time. We've had some increased traction because of that Dave Portnoy video. So welcome everybody who's here for the first time. If you'd like to join the Discord, all the sources I use in every show, we put in the Discord. So you'll have access to all of that. If you're in the Discord, grab these clips, put them up on social media. I promise you these ones are impactful. They're not impactful for MAGA. MAGA won't give a shit. But if you have people that are on the fence that see this, this is impactful, and including this one, specifically the first one, and then this one. And this one just laying out, because a lot of people are still saying, oh, the Biden administration, they didn't do a good job. Oh, we have prices went up. It's harder to live now. When you put in perspective where the Biden administration took over, what the conditions were like as they took over, and where they're at now, there's a lot of wins. And so this is a 3-minute video talking about their wins, but this is one I think is worth reposting to your friends. And again, guys, if you want an invite to the Discord, don't put it in the chat here. Click on my name or a moderator's name, and send a direct message and say, I'd like an invitation to the Discord. So no more in the chat. Send a direct message. That's the only way we're going to see it. There's Travel Casey. There's Jen. We've pinned it. Or you can DM me. We'll get you an invite. We'd love to have you. Here's 3 minutes of Kamala laying out the wins from this administration.
Eric, real quick. We only got a few minutes.
Only got a few minutes. Thank you, Madam Vice President, for having me. Thank you, Charlamagne the God. So as a employee of a mission-driven nonprofit bank.
Good Lord. I'm sorry I have to explain this. Don't tag the moderator and ask for an invite. Click on their profile, send them a message. If your message shows up in the chat, that was not sufficient. If your message shows up in the chat, that's not a direct message. Click on their name, pull up their profile, send message. If you've put it in the chat, you're not getting an invite. It goes by too fast. We can't track it. I love all of you. Sorry to interrupt our next president.
So as a employee of a mission-driven nonprofit bank, I appreciate the efforts in that bank. I work with Investor Detroit. But as chief storyteller of the city of Detroit, I spend a lot of time.
That's the same one I just played. Shit, let me see. Oh, no. Sorry, guys. It's a good clip. I'll post it in Discord anyways. Son of a bitch. I put the same one on there twice. Sorry about that. That's on me. That's on me. I fucked up. I don't think I can find it here. All right. God. Listen, it wouldn't be an RTP stream if we didn't leave with me fucking something up. That's how it goes. Did I ever mute myself today? Are we no mute today? The first mute at the start, that wasn't me. Are we mute free? Celebration. At least you can hear me. Yeah. Also, if you're new here, my replays are shown on YouTube. So if you missed anything today, Monday through Friday, we do this show. It's 3.5 hours, and the replays are always on YouTube at RTP Talks. If you click on my profile, you can go to my link tree. We have merchandise. We have you can follow me on Instagram, on Twitter. By the way, I love when you guys interact with me, especially on Twitter and Instagram. It's fun to see your guys' posts too. So I appreciate those who have interact with me, and it helps me get a little more reach on those platforms. Everybody knows I'm dog shit at social media. Everybody knows that. So anything you guys do to help is greatly appreciated, because God damn it. Nice, Cassie. I'm not muted. Stop it. Stop. That's not. Is it muted? Are you guys fucking with me? I'm not muted. Okay. All right. Fuck you guys. All right. Terrific. Anyways, you can follow me on those social media platforms. I'm gullible. That's absolutely true. Join the Discord. It would be great to have you. I'll be back tomorrow morning and every weekday morning, 9:30 a.m. to 1 Pacific Standard Time right here on TikTok. Let me see. Make sure I got comments all out of the way. I think I got that one. That was a Sal one. I think I got that. Yeah. Yeah, I got that one. Yippee! All right. Yeah, that's it. One other announcement I need to make. And then guys, start saying who you want to raid. And then Jen, will you message me who people want me to raid? So whoever you want us to raid, start putting in the comments. I just need to announce this Friday night, I don't have anybody to watch my daughter, so I'm not going to be live with Jeff on Friday night. I don't know if we're going to do Thursday night. I haven't talked to Jeff. I don't even know if I'm available Thursday night, but Friday night, date night, not happening this weekend, and I'm sorry. But I'm going to watch Harry Potter with my daughter all night. It's going to be wonderful. Jen, did you have... I'm saying a guest speaker. Ooh, I've seen Adorna and Covey. Covey is... Who's Covey again? Why do I know Covey? Let's rate Adorna. Adorna's brilliant. Go rate Adorna. Maybe the smartest person on this app, right up there. So I'll be there too. Oh yeah, Covey is Athena. That's right. Anyways, rate Adorna. We'll get Athena next time. Tell them RTP sent you. If you go see Athena, tell them RTP sent you too. Go to either one of them. I'm going to go. I'll go to both. I'll be over there. But guys, thank you so much for the support, for the gifts. We've hit our gift goal every day this week, and I appreciate that. I appreciate the support. Everybody that's new here, welcome. I'll see you tomorrow morning, 9:30-ish. 9:30-ish. Take care of yourselves.